Flowing Through Film. It is your host, Luke, and today for episode 116, we are doing basically like a genre episode that we're calling Crime Night, where we're going to pick two movies from the crime genre and talk about them today. And the two movies we chose for today were Hard Ticket to Hawaii, directed by who? What's his name?
Andy Sidaris or something
Andy
like that.
Sidaris,
Yeah.
And then The Mission, directed by Johnnie To. So before we get into it today, let me introduce my co-host, Danny.
Hello.
Blake.
What's up?
And then for the second week in a row, we brought a guest on, and our guest today will be Bryan Ray.
Yeah, very excited to talk about these two movies.
Which he was the one who chose the...
We should explain how we got to these two movies.
So, yeah, we basically we also have a punishment movie that we made two people here watch, because the way we decided these two movies were, each four of us chose a movie, a crime movie. We did a random generator pick two of those movies that they chose, and then the other two people got to choose a movie for the other two to watch, because we didn't get our movies picked. Yeah,
basically Bryan and Blake's movies got picked.
Yeah.
But because their movies got picked, they also had to watch a punishment movie.
Which I still think is a conspiracy theory, because I wasn't here for the random
No.
movie.
Well,
My movie somehow got picked,
no.
so I have to do the bad movie.
But did you name what the punishment movie was?
no idea. What was it called again?
I have no fucking idea.
Twisted
dude.
Marriage
I had to look this up.
Marriage
Every time I
Therapist.
wanted to know
Okay,
what
so-
this movie's title is, I had to look it up.
Blake,
because I had no
Blake, give us your review of it.
Blake, give us your review first. Yeah.
I really want
To
to know
prove you
why.
watched it.
To prove I watched it, it's like it's the most up its ass fucking horror movie I've ever seen. Like or like wannabe horror movie. Like it's
Love
like
it
this
so
like
far.
it's like thinks it's doing like so much like for like PTSD, like these like Marines and shit, for like divorce, marriage and shit. And then it's just like this like basic ass.
You gotta grow with
terrible
Dr.
slasher.
Yo.
Oh
You
my
gotta
God.
grow with Dr. Yo.
Okay.
It's so bad.
So what do you
No cap.
It's so boring.
Okay. Before Bryan says anything, what do you think about like the set design, like the art department, stuff? Like, what was the vibe
Dude,
there?
that was part of the boringest part.
Oh, okay, really. Okay. So, Bryan, as a member of the art department for this movie, what do you think about Blake?
I think Blake.
Well, yeah,
I think
Blake,
Blake
yeah.
is spot on all of his points. In all honesty, I just really watched the most of the movie I had seen when I was watching it with you guys.
We watched the first 30 minutes, Dan and I.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that,
Yeah.
We
seen
watched
some of it.
And we watched those things, and I was like, okay, what if we just
so
chose this is the movie, and it tell Blake that
And then
Bryan
Blake
worked on
why.
it?
Because the only reason we were watching it is because Bryan told us he worked on it.
Yeah.
And you only want us to show us the opening scene, which is actually, not bad.
Yeah, when
It's pretty
you
good.
get stabbed
He
in the
gets
back
stabbed.
with the sword.
Sure.
And it goes
It
like
looks
that.
okay.
It's alright.
It at least has you asking, like, okay, like, why
Where's
is
this
this
going?
where is this going?
Yeah.
And then you
Exactly.
see, and you're like, this is terrible. But
100%. Yeah, it's an awful movie. There was a lot of laughs on set while making it.
But how does this end? Because that's what we didn't watch, so you need to prove that you watched it by telling us that.
well, do you want it completely spoiled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
No,
yes, we're never gonna watch it.
So
Nobody's
basically,
gonna
watch it.
Dr. Yo is this other person who is pretending to be a therapist, like this marriage counselor therapist, that basically either murders or puts away husbands of the wives so that she can sleep with them and control them via medicine. It's stupid as hell. And then at the very end, she tries to kill the girl because she's not listening to her, and then her husband comes and
So is
saves
this
her.
But
like an
she's also
anti-therapy
trying to
movie?
seduce the
So
women
bad.
too.
No,
Yeah.
that's why. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
going for
yeah.
the women. She
Yeah.
doesn't care about. She's going
Yeah.
for the
So
women.
is this like an anti-therapy movie too?
Yeah, is that like
I
what it's
have
going
no
for?
idea.
That is a great question.
I have no idea.
Or is it just? I mean, I guess it's kind of interesting concept.
It's kind of funny you talk about the art direction, set design, because we reused these same pictures in like every room.
Okay. It makes sense,
If you
dude.
see like a picture that looks like raining down, like it's like a bloody
Yes. You
rose thing
Yes.
in the background, you'll see it in so many different locations. Just because
See,
the
that
director really liked that picture.
That makes sense because, well, honestly, it just makes sense because everything in this movie just feels so boring. Like it feels like it feels like it's trying to be something it's not, and then it's just like really boring on top of it.
Yes, there are some funny moments, but it's
No
like,
cap.
no cap.
Well, no, you have to tell the story.
Abandonment.
Tell the story
Well, you
behind
told us
it.
the, you told us the entry story about the no cap line.
Yeah.
About how that came to
Oh,
be.
yeah, that's hilarious.
So we were, me and art team, we were just chilling around. The director comes up. He's like, "What is that thing that the kids say?" And I was like, "I don't know what you mean, Booger." I don't know.
Booger? Is that his name?
His name's Booker,
Booker. Okay.
not Booger.
Okay.
And he was just like, "Oh, you know when they," he's like, "when they mean like they're being for real or something like that." And I was like, "I don't know." And we were standing there, wait, like no cap? And he's like, "Yes, no cap." And then he's just like, "I'm gonna have everyone say it." I'm just like, really? I'm like, yeah. I thought he was kind of fucking with us. Not gonna lie. And then he goes out to a crowd, you know, and it's Dr. Yo. It's a crowd scene. And then she goes, "And that's," and everyone goes, "No cap," and we're just like, "What's going on?"
That's true
Amazing.
improvisation from a
Oh,
master.
man, yes,
right there.
exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
being
John
live-
Cassavetes would
being
be proud.
Yes, being
I know.
live on the set.
Unbelievable.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But see, Blake, isn't that interesting? You learned how
No, it's
you got
not.
to one of the makers of the film right here.
Yeah, you'd be bowing at his feet right now. You
Even
know?
though Brian, because you were saying this while we were watching this a little bit, like
Should you be
Even though-
apologizing to me? No, just kidding.
they would make you do work on the set. Like a lot of the shots are so like all the background's out of focus except for the like, two main leads.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. So it's like it doesn't even matter what you were doing.
No, it doesn't matter. There's like hardly any establishing
Yeah,
shots
yeah,
of
there's
anything. If it
nothing.
is, it's stock footage.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's,
I do think it's fitting though, at least to mention that because the next two movies we're actually talking about this week are also low budget movies.
that
So
is
it doesn't
a good
mean
point.
you have to be like a terrible movie with no effort, like
Yeah.
you know, just because you're low budget.
Yeah.
But is there anything else you have to say?
You can watch the
Well,
movie
I
on
think-
Tubi. We should mention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on
it's
Tubi.
a
It's
Tubi
basically
original.
it's basically a Lifetime movie though. It's
It's made for a certain like genre. Already.
Yeah. yeah, for sure. It's made for like 50-year-old moms.
Yes, that are watching Tubi originals. Is this even
Who
Tubi original?
is watching
or-
It says
Tubi
it's a
original?
Tubi.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to meet this person.
I don't know what the audience is for these types of movies. you
Dude, at
know?
least now I know. At least now it makes sense how you even knew this movie existed. Because I was watching this and I was like, how do you even know this
Shot in
movie
Little Rock.
existed? Like, oh my god.
Shot in Little Rock.
Support local cinema.
No, but the last thing I guess I would say is it's something we were actually talking about before the podcast. It's the fact that movies today feel like they have to be art, even
Or
though
they
they're
try
not,
too
or
hard,
they try
yes,
too hard to be
yes.
art. That's what that movie did.
Yes.
And that's something that Hard Ticket to Hawaii, which is what we're going to get into,
Yes.
did not do.
Yes.
It knows exactly what it is, and it
That's
doesn't
what
try
I
to be
love.
anything different. And that's
Yes.
why it's amazing. But
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, that's a good way to transition. Like, because these are two vastly different crime movies. That
They
we're actually
are.
doing.
Yeah.
But we're starting with the more. I'm gonna say just unserious in the level of like compared to the Mission, where at least the Mission's still taking itself more seriously as like a
100%.
crime movie. You know,
Yeah.
it's trying to make it believable. This one is like. It goes, yeah, it's all over the place.
It goes off-
mostly not
Yeah.
believable,
It-
but
it-
like in a good way.
I was gonna say this. Okay, we're just getting.
Yeah, let's go.
Because I was gonna say
Hard
like
Ticket to Hawaii, yeah.
one thing I liked about this movie is just it feels like every choice they made maybe it wasn't the best choice, but it was the funniest choice they could go for.
100%.
Like
It has a consistent theme in the movie. It's like if we ever have the choice between like plot or narrative or just doing something funny, it chooses the funny route.
yeah, exactly. Which I
And then
like.
Brian
I
told us
respect
on
it.
this movie before we watched it, where he's like, every time there's exposition or something, it's like someone's gonna take off their shirt.
Yeah.
something like exciting
Yeah.
to like get you almost.
It's art.
To, like,
it really
yes.
is. It really is.
At least
I mean,
being committed-
it knows we're not gonna listen.
exactly.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
I mean, that is
Honestly, this is what I hate about most like movies that have plots like this, but they take them seriously. Like it references James
100%.
Bond a few times, but some of the annoying parts about James Bond will like it'll have like almost the exact same plot mechanics as this, but
Yeah.
it'll take itself seriously. Like like
100%.
this is why he's a cool guy or whatever. When this one is like he has to use a bazooka because he can't like use anything
'Cause he
else,
can't
you know?
aim.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can't aim. Like it makes jokes like that where like Bond might take itself seriously or something. Or
But
just-
then, like, there's an underlying subplot about a
this,
cancer-infested
my
rat
God.
snake.
Yeah.
that just comes back randomly at the end because I forgot about it.
No,
honestly.
a snake that got bitten
snake.
by cancer-infested rats.
Yes.
That did not
a
feel
cancer
written.
carrying
I think that was
Patient
ad-lib.
zero.
Patient
And they left it
Patient
in.
zero.
Patient zero. Yeah.
Because it comes
They
back
had to have left it in because I literally watched.
Yeah.
Whenever I was watching this, I didn't know if I was having to take notes or anything, so I just had this like conglomeration of thoughts as I was watching it, and I was just like, this snake appears out of fucking nowhere.
Yes.
And I was literally like, this snake's gonna come in and save the day at the very end, which it does. But it's also
does,
just like
yes.
it doesn't matter at all. I'm just like, why is the snake in here? That's one reason why it's like a B movie because like it doesn't have to be in here. It just is because it's cool.
I mean, this is kind of off topic, but Brian, Blake, and I watched Magic Crystal, the Wong Jin movie. And it's like the Magic Crystal is literally this kind of thing. It's like why is at a certain point it's like
it doesn't
have to fit into the movie, but it's kind of there just to like at little moments keep the movie going, you know, to get to 90 minutes or 100 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like at least these types of movies are at least taking it at that level of seriously. Like it knows it's not that serious.
Yes.
You know? Which other movies will have like plot mechanics like, oh, we have to go get the crystal, but it takes it seriously.
We have to go
Like-
get the key and
or
then get another key.
yeah, exactly.
I'm referencing what was the last Mission Impossible and Transformers movies that got
Mission Impossible,
Yeah.
Rise of the Beast was definitely like that.
100%.
But,
get this key and then we
No,
have to get it again. Like,
but yeah,
MacGuffin.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But at least this movie, like, it still has some of those, but at least
Like
It treats them as a
What is
joke,
it?
like,
the
yeah.
jewels or the diamonds?
diamonds that,
Like
honestly, yeah. But
it knows we don't care,
yes,
and that's what's so
Yes.
good about this movie.
like, why is someone watching this? It knows like why is someone watching this movie in the first place.
Yeah.
Which I guess maybe that's another thing. Is like now movies feel like they have to sell to all audiences, so they have to try to sell like outside of like their specific reach a lot of the times. You know, where this movie it's very clear it has like a certain audience. You know, maybe an audience that doesn't really exist anymore in movies. But like,
I mean, this
the
type of
direct to
movie
DVD
is a-
kind of sleazy B
Yeah.
movie.
But like, there is effort that they put into this.
Oh yeah,
a
that's what I'm
ton
saying.
of
That doesn't
effort.
mean there's no effort. Yeah,
And it shows. Like
Yes.
whatever the budget is, I don't know. I tried to look it up and find
I
the
know, I was looking
budget.
up
I
too,
couldn't even
like,
find any box office stats for it. But
brainless doesn't mean soulless.
absolutely, yeah.
That's an important
Honestly,
distinction to
yeah.
make.
I mean, there's some good squibs in it, good blood squibs that look awesome, and
Good stunts.
good stunts. I mean, we have the skateboard guy
Yeah,
doing a
that's impressive.
handstand on
dude,
the
like,
skateboard.
so you haven't seen very much Hong Kong, have you?
Not a ton.
Yeah, because like I was watching this and I was like, this is literally just like a Jackie Chan movie basically, except like way more B movie down. Like like Jackie Chan's like kind of like B movie Hong Kong, but it's more like stunt based. This one's just kind of like insane. But this one's like a Wong Jing movie, like we were saying, which he's also known for being that like kind of insane B movie director. But
yeah.
But it reminds me of Hong Kong because, like, with the skateboards and just, like, with the entire end credits just going through the greatest hits of the movies, that's just, like, a classic, like, Hong Kong era, like, thing. Just showing, like, all the things you did to make this movie.
I mean, that's
like,
literally when we were watching it the other night, I mentioned it. I'm like, it's hard to get to Hawaii's ending.
Yes.
It's just like an late 80s, like, B movie.
It's
type
just,
of
they
thing.
appreciate what it took to get certain shots like this. And then they, like, decide to put that in the end credits.
Even though,
Actually,
I
like,
mean,
make you
this
watch
movie's
it.
end credits is just pretty much all the naked scenes.
It's true. It's true. And the skateboard.
And the skateboard.
Hey, he said greatest
Good
hits.
point.
He said
Exactly.
greatest hits.
Greatest
Exactly.
hits.
Those are some of the greatest
Exactly.
hits.
Exactly.
I mean, it's got a great theme song, you know, that's catchy. That you're gonna hear at the beginning of this episode.
It did look like Jurassic Park a lot of the time when they're flying around. And
Well, that's like when you hear the Hard Ticket to Hawaii theme at the beginning of the movie, like when they're actually
Yeah.
flying to the island or whatever they're going to,
Yeah.
and they actually have the snake. And it's like
They-
a long scene of just the helicopter shots of.
I
like,
know.
these
Well,
gorgeous
they go through the
helicopter
whole
shots.
song. They
Yes,
they let
they
the
do.
whole song play out, and it's just them.
It's
It's
these
just
great
crazy
shots,
shots.
They're like
of,
almost, yeah,
like
it's
them
like a
flying
nature
around
documentary, yeah.
flying around Hawaii. It looked great.
Yes. Yeah, it has that Jurassic Park, like Kong Skull Island when they're like going into the island, those kind of like helicopter with all the trees around them and stuff.
Yeah.
But, this is a very different type of monster movie, you could say.
I kind of want to talk about the random characters in this movie, like just
The random,
The
like,
sports
characters.
broadcaster?
the sports broadcaster who is also not the broadcaster but the director.
Okay, the director. Is the director the blonde one? Or wait, no.
The director is like that big guy.
Okay, the director's the big
yeah,
guy. Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Who is also the director of the movie.
He's-
Okay, the
yeah.
fat guy, yeah.
And the first joke with him in it is a joke about this one girl saying, "You almost nearly raped me last night." And he's like, "Oh, that was last night. This is today."
Oh,
my God.
that's that
And I was
guy.
like, "Oh
okay,
my
okay, okay.
It was. I mean, for a director to come in and that's his
He basically
role in
makes
the movie.
he makes himself the villain, I guess. Or at
Yes,
least the butt
he
of the joke.
does.
That's another thing in the Wong Jing movie too.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely
he's like-
made himself the joke of that movie.
Yeah, damn. I wonder if that's like a B movie thing, maybe.
I don't know.
Director showing up and kind of just like being the butt of the joke.
Yeah. And then he shows up again at the sports broadcast, and that was hilarious. He thinks he's going to get canceled the entire scene. He's like, our careers are over.
Dude,
like,
some of the
wait.
choices in this, like with some of the side characters, are insane. Like,
I
this,
know.
like
Nuts.
whenever they literally had that like NFL broadcast or whatever,
Yes.
and what he said, I was like, oh my god. And then like what his dad says, like he's
Yeah.
stupid, but he could throw the ball. He could throw the damn
No, that's
ball.
his
I was
teammate.
like,
That's his
Yeah,
that's his
that's
teammate.
his
I thought that was
teammate.
Quarterback and wide receiver.
I thought that was his dad.
Yeah, no. But we should. Okay, we don't have to go through all of it specifically because, like you said,
Well, there's
like,
no
not
like
a
plot. I mean, there is a
Yeah.
plot, but it's just like diamonds and shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no coherent plot in this
No.
movie.
We gotta get the
Yeah, it's like,
Okay, if you were to describe what happens, and then maybe we can just point out specific moments. Describe what happens.
it's a great
'Cause,
question.
That did happen in this
There
movie.
is an overarching of like they are in the women's
Spies,
protection.
apparently.
No, so the main two
They're
girls, they're
spies.
like law enforcement there that
Okay,
work
okay,
there,
yeah.
right? And then the two other spies that are on that yacht, like
The men
doing
Yes.
karate
The
on
men,
each
yes.
other.
Yeah.
Ricky and the other guy. Long,
Yes.
I call him long hair in my notes.
Yeah.
Jade.
Oh, it's Jade. It's
Yeah,
Jade.
yeah.
Okay, Ricky and Jade.
Jade and
They-
is it Ricky?
Ricky, yes.
It's Ricky,
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's basically the two sets of spies. Yeah.
somehow they get brought together to defeat. I guess there was a kidnapping of one of their friends.
Well, we should say that this is a sequel to a first movie.
But you're describing the middle of the movie. You're forgetting the beginning of like when we have just the first the two girls when they're like
That's right.
they're kind of undercover.
Okay,
as,
so
like,
there-
as like a
There's like that.
tourist.
There's like
people.
that big like weed farm or something like
Yeah.
that, right? Where they're paying with diamonds.
Yes.
Okay, that's right. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
And well, these two random guys show up in like the opening scene, and then they accidentally stumble upon
Yeah.
like this operation.
Not random guys. They're the. It's an old
They're like
cop.
cops.
Yeah,
He's like,
old
I'm about to
cops.
retire, and he's like, I just do this once a year. I take a fine. They keep growing the weed. It's good for the economy.
Yeah.
And then they come in, they just get shot. Like, but-
Yeah, they run. They trip on a
They trip
snare
on-
and
yep,
get
they
like.
yeah, and that's how we get introduced to the villains.
Yep, that's right.
With the diamonds, but then basically like they're undercover as tourist like helicopter people.
They're like flight.
They're
yeah,
like
flight.
They
tourists.
basically give
Yeah.
private. They fly people to private islands,
Yeah.
and like which is funny because when the attack actually happens and they leave, they just leave those two tourists there.
Yeah, they just.
Movie completely forgets about them.
They died.
Do they died
the
later.
snake-
though.
the snake killed them.
Yeah, but they died later. Like they just left.
They were
them.
supposed to be there for like 10 days.
That was
you know?
literally their job. It's like to help the tourists. You know?
That's true. So I guess after that we're
but that's
introduced.
kind of
No,
where
well,
we get
they
into-
actually get the diamonds, which has one of my
Yes.
favorite moments in the movie when it's revealed they're using a toy helicopter to deliver them.
Yes.
It's like, because like, I think,
great.
doesn't he like when he initially shows it, you think it's for a second, it's like, oh, is that like a real helicopter? And then like, it like cuts out. And
Yeah,
no,
it's
never
like
mind.
a toy helicopter.
They even have like the tiny briefcases too. It's like,
Well, yeah, it's just like a classic James Bond villain, just like this old ass white guy.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
like just ridiculously. Like,
the one guy's like, oh, I don't want to go through
Snotty.
customs, you know. Yeah.
Yes.
But,
Honestly,
yeah.
because it has the typical elements of a genre movie, right? Like
Yes.
the head criminal boss who's like who speaks in the accent and he's only like stays in his office or in his yacht. Then there's like the secondary boss who's like has the accent and he's like tall and
Yep.
stuff. And there's like the dumb ones. Because like the
Yeah.
two guys that lose the diamonds first, they're like some of the worst actors you've ever seen.
Oh. But it has one of the best scenes when those our two ladies,
yes.
they just pull out nunchucks
Yes.
and a ninja
Ninja
star.
Star
and
just throw like no explanation.
yeah.
I guess we should explain this is a
Yes,
sequel
to
or like a
Malibu
spiritual
Express.
sequel.
To Malibu.
It actually is a
Express.
sequel.
It, did you look it up? It is a sequel.
Oh
to it?
yeah, no,
It's the same characters. Yeah,
That's crazy.
So
Because they literally like
I have no
mentioned
idea.
later on in the movie that they mentioned the first movie and how they acted it and how now the main actor from the first movie went off to an acting career and left them in their job that they're doing now, which is the It's so bad.
it's a little true
So
Foes,
good.
you know, putting life into your
man.
film.
Okay,
There's no difference.
okay, yeah.
No, but
I guess we're introduced to right after that. We're introduced to I mean, the snake, right? The snake in the crate.
Well, it's just like they actually mix up the
They
snakes.
mix up 2 snakes.
It's like the toxic snake.
And they take this toxic snake on the to the museum they're
Yeah.
supposed to go to, which we never see, I don't think.
And we talk about the opening credits of the movie with all the
okay,
crates.
that's actually fire.
That
yeah.
was
because we could
sweet.
tell
Yeah, that was
I'm pretty
sweet.
sure they actually
Yeah.
actually printed the stuff.
No, yeah,
in
that's
real
what I was
life on
saying.
the
It
crates.
looked like they were all because you could see them in the background with the names still on them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when they
Have
were
you seen?
sorting
Have
around.
you guys seen Blue Collar?
No.
It has
I've
a
seen
very
the opening
similar opening
credits
credits.
scene.
It has a very similar opening
Really?
credits where it's just
Okay.
like it's in a car manufacturing plant and you're just seeing
That's
like.
sweet.
So it kind of reminded me of that, but yeah. No, honestly, it's very
It was-
good opening
it
credits.
was super cool.
That's where like there's certain moments in this where it's like it feels like a director has some control at least of what they're doing. It has some vision of like consistent vision, like okay, we're gonna go funny over everything, or like
100%.
Yeah, it's like it just doesn't feel random as maybe other movies are just like certain scenes put together almost.
Yeah,
but
I feel like the only part where it really got random was the end.
yes, it
Well,
kinda,
the villain won't die. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
He's bleeding
yes, that's
out,
so true.
Bro.
and like
Yeah.
he's still alive after like her.
Oh, but see, to be that's
like-
like a James Bond thing. Like that's
Yeah.
That's just so the
That's like a
snake
crime
can come
movie
and save the
thing.
day.
yeah, then
But there's honestly some interesting shots, like when he comes up out of the mirror, like after we think he's dead, and then like we see him come up in the mirror. Like,
yeah, there's some cool stuff in it. There's
It's
some
not
cool
just,
stuff.
Like, it's not lazy filmmaking.
No, it's
You
not.
know?
No, it's
Uh,
not.
Like we did
Uh,
Troll too, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like that, like in
Oh,
that vein,
yeah.
where like we see the guy, like at least the main guy has some passion over like what he's trying to do. You know?
Yeah.
It's like there's some talent here.
Yeah.
And then you're just
Like
watching something
okay,
like,
let's ask
wow.
this: who's the best actor in this?
Okay, that one guy who was like trying to radio them was actually like the guys
Okay,
like about the
yes,
snake.
Yes.
That guy.
Where he's like explaining to them, he's like, "There's a poisonous snake," and she's like, "No, there's not."
yeah.
He's like, "I'm telling you, I'm not asking."
Yeah. She's like, oh, we don't have a snake anymore. It got loose.
Yeah, he's like, "It's a poisonous snake." She's like, "No, it's not." It's like, I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I'm like,
But
"Damn, I
yeah,
know."
like he's actually pretty good. Like,
Okay, alright.
He seemed like a
Yeah, like maybe he was like an actual actor. In this
yeah. He just showed up for like a few scenes.
I'm gonna do a deep cut here. I'm gonna say the guy who's like at the restaurant, just the guy who works at the front desk.
Okay, that guy. Yeah.
He's like, "Come on, ladies, yeah."
Oh, that guy. I have some. No, I have some.
He's
of
like,
his
"Give me a
lines.
call sometime."
Okay, because the director is the guy who's like at the beginning when we see him, he's like, "I'll have a." When he's like trying to order coffee, he's like, "I'll have a pair of coffee."
A pair of coffee.
Yeah. Okay, no, but yeah, that guy at the restaurant too.
Yeah, he was something.
Yeah.
No, he's got some lines.
I'm trying to. I mean, maybe.
Honestly, Ricky's not that bad.
Ricky's
Is
not-
he the one that
Ricky's
goes on
not
to actually have
horrible.
an acting career? Maybe is Ricky the one?
No, I think that they were talking about a different guy.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
first. I don't know if the first movie has a different main actor or not. But
Because Ricky's kind of funny. You know, he's like,
Ricky is kind of
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. he's still
He's a charm to him.
yeah, he's definitely got a charm to him.
Or no, his name's Rowdy.
yeah, Rowdy.
Oh,
I was
Rowdy.
like, no, I knew it was. I thought it was
Yeah.
something weirder than Ricky because I was like, I
Okay,
don't think it's
okay.
something that like.
No,
based on-
okay, his first 2 films on Letterboxd are hilarious. Bolt and Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Bolt.
The fucking animated movie.
Yeah, I
my
completely
God.
forgot about that movie.
Damn, I kind of want to rewatch it.
But dude, it's
John
weird
Travolta.
because Rowdy, not Ricky, Rowdy and Jade are only introduced like 20, 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
I know.
And then it's like like that's the snake plot kind of just goes away for a little bit.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
it
out
becomes
of-
this kind of crime movie with the 4 leads all of a sudden, you know. Where
But
it's
then
like,
you'll randomly have those 2 people at the beach taking pictures and stuff, and then
and then
the
they have to get
snake
killed,
comes
yeah.
up out
Honestly,
of nowhere.
that's another thing where I was
Yeah.
saying there's like some creativity where like
There's, like,
they come back
tension.
to the disposable or
Yeah.
to the camera later
Yeah.
and they see the snake attack through the
Damn,
That
camera.
was-
That's
that
pretty
was
cool. When they're like
hilarious.
waiting
That's
for
fire.
it, yeah, it's pretty fire.
Yeah, and they're digging out there. They're like, "Oh, where are the bodies? They found the bodies." They're like, "Ah."
yeah.
And then they find that picture. It's still developing.
Yes, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool idea, honestly.
It's pretty cool. And it was just the snake, like,
Yeah. We get like the classic like it's honestly for no reason like this is the most like in a normal movie you would make sense like they're trying to build emotional depth where like she's talking about how her dad used to be an agent and like
yeah.
you know like that's why he was the best of the force. It was like right after she shoots the guy in the face
yeah.
and then she's like, oh, my dad would be so disappointed. He's like, your dad would have loved that. You shot him right in the face. Like, you got that guy right in the face. Like,
That was crazy. I didn't.
honestly, yeah.
Yeah, she just runs out there, boom,
Yeah.
just like knocks him right in the face.
Honestly, we're gonna talk about this
Yeah.
with Johnnie To because I know Blake mentioned before, but like some of the gunshot scenes are just like so sudden. Because like,
Oh, yeah.
Like you mentioned with the ninja stars, it just happens all of a sudden. Like you don't, it's out of nowhere. Just boom, boom. They like
And the bazooka when you first
Oh
see
my
the
God,
bazooka too.
Yes, the bazooka, the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that whole shot of the guy handstand on a skateboard.
This whole scene, I just have questions because I'm just like, first off, why we need a guy spotting someone riding down with a skateboard on a handstand? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, and there's like a
because then they drive
yeah.
the car past them so he can do it again.
I know.
With the gun this time. I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, that can't be the easiest way to do this.
Well, and the editing was so confusing too because they drove. It was like a car chase, and then that car disappeared. They're like, "Where did they go?" I'm like, "They're right next to you." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Oh yeah.
And then it pans out, and it's like, "Okay, the car just disappeared," and then we get a cut of them parking down at the end of the road, and
yeah,
he just
dolls,
goes back,
and
uses
like-
the sex doll as a shield, and grabs a gun. And I love that they just don't care about the guy riding down the street with the sex doll.
Do you remember the joke they tell right before this scene too? Where he's like, "My first wife used to mow the lawn stark naked."
I do.
Yeah.
And then what they say, or what your wife said, they said I married her for her money.
It's great writing.
Like there's like random jokes like that throughout the movie that just like
Yeah.
get your attention.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the scene. I love how he says it when he's just riding down on the skateboard. He's like, "That guy's smoking some heavy doobies."
But yes, the reveal of the bazooka, like, whenever that happened, I was like, okay.
Just so casual.
oh
like-
my god.
Well, they run over the guy, launch him up in the air.
Yeah. Okay. Also, sex
Yeah.
doll. We've got
This-
the
yeah.
sex doll's important here. 'Cause
So
I-
yes.
yeah,
he
yeah.
blows up the guy, and then the sex doll's still flying, and then he blows up
Yeah.
the sex doll.
Yes.
Like that's like definitely like the only reason they had the sex doll in the scene too.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
just for that shot, but like
Yeah.
it's like I mean I'm
Honestly,
not
but
complaining.
like
Like,
that's like the creative touch we get. You know, like
Yes.
he had to shoot that sex doll too.
Yes.
yeah, cool points.
And I love how they just don't care. They just like, all right, we're good. Or no, he got shot.
Yeah.
I forgot
Yeah,
how
he
he
got
got shot. And he's like, "I'll survive. It's been worse before." Whatever he says.
Whenever he pulls out the bazooka and shoots him, like Jade or whatever, he's just like, I can't believe you still can't hit anything without a bazooka. And I was just like, oh my god. It's just like, of course.
And that comes back at the
And
very
it comes
end
back.
too.
It
Like,
comes
Yeah.
back multiple times in the
Yeah.
movie, but yes.
no, I like that.
At
Like,
the very end too, though. Yeah.
it's kind of making fun of like
Yeah.
yeah, he's like James Bond that can't aim a gun. Like that's kind of funny.
Well, it also has this like you've seen some Takashi Miike, right?
A few. We did. One
Have
on
you
the
seen Dead or
podcast.
Alive?
No.
Because Dead or Alive has the same type of manic energy, like a manic B-movie energy, where at the very end it's just like basically two guys battling with rocket launchers. It's fucking insane. But they also come out of nowhere. Like
Speaking of James Bond too, it's hilarious that one of the girls is like super horny for James Bond the
Yes.
whole time. It's
Yeah.
like because she's like the only way I stop from being bored is pretending I'm in a James Bond movie or something like that. Like
They're like, "What's your favorite James?" Or what? They were asking each other, "What's your favorite James Bond?" They're like, "I'd take any of them."
oh yeah,
Come on.
Honestly, yeah, there is still a lot of sex in this movie. Like that's definitely how they were selling it to people, at least to get
Weird
people to
sex
watch.
too.
Yeah.
Like sex where you're not even sure what's happening.
it beats the sexless allegations that a lot of
What?
movies have nowadays.
It
The
does.
sexless
Oh, the
allegations.
sexless allegations.
Yeah,
Yes,
sexless
yes,
allegations.
Yes, it does.
Not really even allegations at the point. It's just true.
No. Honestly, it does a good job of getting into some of them though. Like even though some of them feel kind of just random, like it.
They're funny. They're funny.
Yeah, they're funny.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
the one-
when they hear the other two, like, oh,
That's hilarious. That was funny.
Yes, yes. No,
she's
that's-
like, "Can't you quiet down?" He's like, "I like it like this."
Well, like her
No,
and,
honestly, and the way he like after their sex scene when their like bodies are against each other, like it's kind of interesting. Like the way the camera like just slowly goes up their bodies.
Okay,
like,
yeah, I can see that. I can see
Honestly,
that,
like
yeah.
if it was just different music and stuff, you'd be like, "Damn, this is like a serious director," you know.
I just came out. It comes out of nowhere because they're just watching the footage.
Yes,
You know, of just that guy filming, and then out of nowhere they're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna have sex now."
Yeah, because they come back and they're
The
like,
audience is bored.
no, they come back to the other two and they're like, "Oh, we had to stop by for lunch," and like they could clearly hear them in the other room.
Well, no, I think Jade asked. I think he's like, "How was the video?" And then they just all start laughing.
Well, at first they were talking about drinks. She's like, "Can I make you a drink? I mean, I have some mixers in there." He's like, "No, I like it straight right out of the bottle." Or so he said something really
No, that's
stupid.
what-
It's like shaken.
Yeah,
not-
shaken.
Yeah.
Not stirred.
It's
That's
like-
right.
See, that's a good James Bond reference too.
It's just a great joke.
No, but then when they come back, they're like, "Sorry, we stopped for a bite to eat," and then the guy there is like, "You shouldn't chew your food so loud."
Yeah. Oh my.
No, I think that's the girl that says that.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
And wait,
a-
honestly, because when I was looking up the music for this, the comments, like the number one scene people kept quoting was the frisbee scene,
That was so
which is
funny.
honestly one of the best
Okay.
scenes too.
Yes, that's
Like,
right.
First of all, just like a random girl he brings too, because I'm like, wait, we haven't
Just-
seen this. Like, we
I'm
haven't
like,
seen
this,
this girl.
this is 80s, right? I guess you can just run.
This
Can I
girl-
join you on a run? Yeah.
The only time we've ever seen this girl is through the camera because
Yeah.
the two other girls have seen her play frisbee with this
Yeah.
guy. That's how he gets
Okay, no,
the idea.
the first shot of them
Yes.
seeing her play frisbee, they're like so close together. Like,
Yeah, I know.
it's like what, you might as well hand it to each other. That way, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
But then Rowdy's just like, I can use this.
Honestly,
The guard was like flexing his frisbee skills. He was
no,
like,
yeah,
through his
honestly.
legs.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you think you're all good at throwing a frisbee?
No, he's selling the. Oh man, like he would definitely let his guard do these sound and play some frisbee.
Yeah, he was.
No, but like when the frisbee play, like the frisbee play, is just a great idea too.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it's like kind
cool.
of it's like he goes to the bag, pulls out like the bladed frisbee.
Yeah.
It's just funny
Good
because the
idea
other
for a
guy's
film.
getting
Good idea
into
for
it.
a
The other
film.
guy's like getting into it. He's like, come on, man. Throw
Yeah,
a
yeah.
frisbee back.
No, that's like right after.
He's just sitting there with like a machine gun, just on the beach. Come on, guys. Come on. So goofy.
No, it kind of has like a.
Or what is he? He does this. He just like the fist bump at the end. It's like, yeah.
It's got the Sonatine vibes. Takashi Kitano.
Okay.
Like when they're like on beach for half the movie.
Yes.
Like, just gangsters fucking around on the beach.
Exactly. The entire movie,
Yeah.
basically.
No, but then like right after that, it's like we're basically at the end of the movie. The last like.
Damn, we flew through this.
Because like it's weird that this movie has so many just like little endings. Like honestly, it
Yes.
can't end. But like we know it's like ending, but like it just can't end.
Lord of the Rings
'cause, like,
homage.
honestly, like
Yeah.
Return of the King.
Before the Razor Frisbee, I did have this like 3 sequence of like thoughts in my head where it was just like, why I like the choice in this movie will never cease to amaze me because we went from like these girls arrive at like a sumo wrestling contest for just like a split second. I'm like, why are we here? And it's just for a phone call, and that's the reason why.
Well,
Yeah.
And then the
it's
snake
mainly
appears.
for the joke because
Yeah.
she's like,
Mainly.
"Oh, I can speak
Oh
Japanese."
my
Yeah.
When she
Yeah.
said that,
Oh, so bad.
oh my god, when she said that, I'm like, no, she said that, I was like, oh no, she's about to say the most racist shit. And then she, you know what?
We already saw like when they introduced Jade at the beginning, and he's doing like his like Chinese.
yeah.
He said something about like aftershave or something. I don't even get the joke he's making. But...
They're making like the
Yeah.
like when they're doing the
Oh
curl.
my god.
I was like,
It's
oh
like
no.
aftershave.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
But yeah, we go from the sumo, then we go back to the snake, which we haven't seen for like 30 fucking
Yes.
minutes.
we just know the snake went into the
Yes.
it went into the drain.
That's literally all we know. And then we go to like the NFL Sportscast. And I'm just like, what is this movie? Like, where are we going? Like, we went from sumo to snake to like NFL broadcast all of a sudden. Like,
Lil Boonwell-esque.
Yeah, nothing quite like it. Yeah.
nothing quite like it.
No, but then it's like this ending where it's like they basically save the girl that's kidnapped like right away.
Well, then we had the cross-dresser spy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, where, like, they're just super oblivious to her spying on them.
Yeah.
Or him, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
spying on them the whole time, like on his phone.
Very good cross dressing.
Honestly, yeah.
No,
It was
I-
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, makeup,
Very
yeah,
good.
costume, makeup design.
Yeah,
Went
honestly.
crazy.
I was shocked whenever he started taking. I was like, oh my
I
god,
was like, yeah, they did a good job. Yeah, they did a good job. No, but then we see basically Edie is the one that's at this restaurant who gets kidnapped. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And that's who they're going to rescue. That's kind of like another.
We didn't
plot.
mention that because we don't know who Edie is. We only know that she's Jade's girl, her Jade's
We've
girlfriend
seen her.
or something. Yeah, but we've seen her in this movie.
But it wasn't explicitly
Yeah,
mentioned.
we just
No.
she's just
Yeah.
kind of here.
We see
She
like
gets
awkward
kidnapped.
scene where they're talking to each other on the phone, like flirting, but like everyone else is listening. It's like, oh damn, he's a
He's a stud.
yeah, he's a It's like damn, it's like they're on speakerphone.
Oh my gosh! And then we have that random. I don't even know how to explain this woman.
The bodybuilder.
Yes, the
Russian
bodybuilder.
bodybuilder
Yeah, the
or
Russian
something?
bodybuilder. That was nuts.
Wait, he's the villain?
No, the bodybuilder.
No,
girl
the
that
woman.
They come in to like torture her basically.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
like that's
yes.
like the last we see of her essentially.
There's
like,
just one scene of her just flexing and
Yes.
staring right into the camera,
Yeah.
and it
and then
lasts
she
like
dies in a
2
bazooka.
minutes.
And she dies
Yes.
via bazooka.
Yeah,
So-
she does. Like, it just blows my mind when they go into that whole action scene when she's in the glider and she's
Yes.
like, I'm just gonna start dropping bombs.
Dropping grenades, like just dropping them.
But not even like where you need to drop them, like in the middle of the yard.
Just cause havoc. That's all
Yeah,
you need.
just
That's her
cause
job.
havoc. Yeah, just cause havoc.
They're like, all we got is we're gonna have some explosions filming in one shot. You flying an airplane in the other shot. You know, we'll come on with.
We're gonna have Rowdy
It'll make
like
sense later.
miss every shot just for Jade to come in and just hit him the first
At least that's
try.
a recurring joke because that will even
Yeah.
come back at the very end with this like.
Yes.
It honestly feels like this scene with the where they go defeat the big boss. It's like almost like they forgot like they had to kill this guy because like
I know,
it's like
yes.
they're just in a room like
They're just chilling.
the lead's like okay we gotta go reshoot this like final scene.
And then they were hyping up his henchman that was up there, the super buff guy.
No, yeah, they're like,
And
wait,
they're
we've
like-
never seen this guy the whole
They're
time.
like, this guy's a stone cold murderer and all this stuff. And then they just walk in there and kick his ass in 5 seconds.
Yes.
No.
That happens a lot because that's basically they save Edie super easily. Also, like
Yeah.
really easily.
And they're even cracking jokes while they're doing it too.
Yes, that's great. Because like Rowdy even he switches to the bazooka in the fucking house and just like shoots like he's literally hiding like he has a pistol. They just pulls the bazooka out and just shoots the guy through the fucking sliding or whatever.
That
Oh my god.
Just launches him out the window.
Fucking insane. What a great movie.
And, I know. And then they run out and they're escaping.
Yes.
And then Rowdy's just like, I don't even trust myself anymore with the bazooka. And she's like, I'll take it. And boom, she blows it up. And they're like, wow, that was incredible. They made a joke. They're like, wow, that was incredible. And she was like, that's horrible. A lot of people died. Or something. Some joke.
She's like, this isn't make believe, it's real life. That one.
Yeah.
No, because she's like, this isn't make believe, it's real life. Isn't that right, numbnuts? Because she's talking to the guy, and the guy's like, I love it when you talk dirty. I was like, damn, that's kind of clever too.
It's awesome.
No, yeah, and then basically they're all happy on the boat at the last scene.
They're all happy.
With the diamonds.
Well, they're all happy on
Well-
the boat, and then they're like, "Wait, where's Seth?" and then Rowdy
yes.
he starts
Well,
riding his motorcycle back.
The
or
whole
some shit.
caveat of the whole thing is that because if the spies or the cops got the diamonds, they would have to turn it in legally.
Yes.
But she's the only one. She's like, I'm not either one. So, but I'm going to share the wealth with all my friends. Cheers!
Hey, and we're with her. We're with
Yeah,
her.
we're with
you know?
Yeah.
But both movies are about the power of friendship.
Yes.
We should talk
That's
about
good connection.
Rowdy literally driving his fucking motorcycle through the door and shooting the snake's head off with a
Out of
Honestly, yes.
nowhere.
Fucking insane.
Out of
Yeah.
nowhere too. Yeah.
I was
From the
like,
top
whenever
rope.
like this movie started off, and I knew it was gonna be like a B movie masterpiece because it had tits in like the first 30 seconds.
Yes,
but
100%.
but like,
Honestly, yeah. It's literally the
oh my
opening
god,
scene.
like the ending of this
Where
movie
she says,
is fantastic.
or he says, she's like, you should jump into the water. He's like, I've got better things to do with my body temperature. They start kissing. No, it's just a great fun movie.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
it's not
very
trying, like
fun
you said
movie.
at the beginning. It's not trying to be anything. It's not.
No.
You know, it's not trying to like have any.
it knows what it
pretensions
is,
or
and it does it very well.
Yes, yes.
I really wish I knew the budget of this movie.
Yeah, you
Because
can't
they
find
get
it
away
anywhere
with a
crazy.
lot
Yeah.
of stuff,
do.
you know.
We need, yeah.
Like, I could see Hard Ticket to Hawaii and The Mission having a similar budget. Or
Honestly,
maybe even
yeah.
Hard Ticket to
Honestly,
Hawaii.
it might
having a
have more
big-
hard ticket
yeah.
because
it might.
we're gonna talk
Maybe,
about Mission.
yeah.
This show was only filmed in like 12 to 18 days, depending on who you ask. So
Yeah.
it was like no time.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
okay,
it
so
is.
yeah. I
Johnny
heard-
To
so no-
himself said it was 18, but there have been.
Yeah, I said
Holy
I said
shit.
18. I saw 18 days after I watched it last night, and so like I put in my reviews like, holy shit, this shit was done in like 18 days. And then I started looking at other people. It was like people were saying it's in 12 days. I was like, wait, I thought 18 days was insane. Like you're telling me 12
Oh my
days?
gosh. That's the same amount of days it took to film Twisted Marriage Therapist.
Oh my god.
That's basically the point I'm making,
Yeah.
though. You know, it's like just because you have
Yeah.
18 days or a budget doesn't mean a movie has to be bad. Or
I mean,
low effort.
you can definitely see the vision there, though. Like, it seems like everything was very meticulously planned. Like,
Yes.
like so many shots. I know we'll get into.
We'll get into it, but-
We'll get into the mission.
But is there any closing thoughts you have on this one? It was your
We
pick.
need to do a drinking game sometime.
yeah,
Maybe
no,
from Malibu Express.
Okay.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
You
Malibu
should.
Express. I kind of want to go through this guy's filmography. He's
no,
done
like-
a few.
He's definitely. I
And
feel like
one-
Blake's definitely gonna go through them.
And
He's
one
a big
that
movie guy.
one that has
I'll definitely
great
watch some of
reviews.
these, yes.
That's called Seven, I think. You can see the poster in the background. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about how this,
Yeah.
how this director puts the posters to all of his movies just in that house. Really.
Yeah.
7 also takes place in Hawaii. A government agent discovers a plot by a cartel
This
of
dude's
7
just
gangsters.
using his like money that he gets to like film movies to
Yes.
vacation, and I
Yes.
respect
No,
it.
The
I
Adam
said-
Sandler.
The Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
house, yeah.
Howard Hawks.
Yes.
did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of
Hikari,
directors have done that.
yes.
They're like, I want to go to film. I want to go visit this country. Let me go just make a movie
film.
there.
Yeah.
Go make a movie.
No, wait, how'd you discover this movie too? By the way.
That's a great question. I think we were just looking up B movies because
On
we were
Tubi,
just
or-
having a
I
B
did
movie.
see this one like greatest B movie of all time back in like 2014. Or
I saw that. I saw that too.
Oh, okay.
So I just looked it up and I was like,
I didn't know it was that popular.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like
either.
I hadn't heard about this movie
about it
before you
either.
mentioned it. So
I hadn't heard about it until like a month or two ago when I watched it the first time.
honestly, it's got a good poster too. Like
It's got a great poster.
Yeah.
All of his movies have pretty solid posters.
No, yeah. Recommend from all of us, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe having some alcohol will help
Yeah,
too.
alcohol.
100%.
Maybe watch some people too.
With some people too.
probably would
you know.
enhance it,
Honestly,
yeah.
yeah, we should do a drinking game for Malibu Express for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And it just still blows my mind that Hard to Get to Hawaii is a sequel to that movie.
Oh yeah. Honestly, the perfect sequel where you don't have to watch the original.
It's like-
to watch the sequel.
It's
Well,
something that people can't do today.
It makes me like quit because there's a scene when they're looking at the poster to Malibu Express. They're like, "You have a poster to Malibu Express in your room?" I was like, Are they making a movie in that movie or something? Like I don't know, but I'm intrigued.
Yes. I'm intrigued. But yep, that is Hard Ticket to Hawaii. After this short break, we'll be back with Johnnie To's The Mission.
And we're back. So now we are going to go into our second film for today, which is The Mission, directed by Johnnie To, which came out in 1999, I believe. Which this is your choice, Blake.
It was.
So I know this is definitely one of your favorite movies. Mine too, as well.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could you can kind of introduce it for us. I feel like. But-
No, yeah, The Mission. I mean, I chose it for Crime Night because it's one of my favorite crime movies. And Danny told me it's not an action movie whenever we were doing our genre canon.
Well, it's both, but it's more of a
both.
crime movie than an action film.
It's
I
more
said
of
you
a
had to
hangout
choose
than
a
either,
major
honestly.
genre because we had both genres.
It's more of a hangout movie than either at the end of the day, honestly, because it's
Hangout movies can be multiple. Like
They
hangout
can
movie
be.
isn't really a genre.
No,
It's
it's not a
it can
genre.
infect multiple genres.
But this is still a crime movie before a hangout movie.
crime adjacent.
But it has it's such a crime movie though. It's
Yes,
like
it
it's
is.
literally using like tropes from the crime genres and stuff like that. So
It is.
let alone the guns.
No, but The Mission, I mean, it's just so fucking good, man. Like, I watched this for the first time this year. Danny actually watched it before me, I'm pretty sure.
I've seen it 3 times this year too.
Oh,
It's
damn!
crazy.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, I watched it.
I've seen it twice.
No, it's just like, well, no, I actually watched this before you,
Yeah,
and I
I
told
think
you
you
that
did.
you had to watch it because you'd love it. And then we watched it, or you watched it, and then we watched it again, literally in the same week together. And then we watched it again for this, obviously.
I
but
watched it today.
There
the
you
first
go.
time.
Yeah.
But it's just like you're watching
So-
this movie, and you're like, how do you make a movie this good in 80 minutes, basically? Like, that flows this seamlessly where nothing really happens, but at the same time, it's just like everything happens in terms of emotions, so... I don't know. But I get it as one of my favorite crime movies, but that's why I decided to choose it for this. But what are your guys' opinions on it?
Well, my
understand
my
Bryan's,
mind
yeah.
is just blown that you brought up that they shot this in like 12 to 18 days.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is just unbelievable. And you would have never guessed that because every frame is so like meticulously like planned out. Like he uses foreground, midground, and background very well.
yes.
He like stacks his characters very well. It's like
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like a director that does that. Like
Well, it's known that one of his favorite directors is Akira Kurosawa.
okay, well
And
there you
it's
go.
very different in terms of how they do it, but they're two of the best of just framing people in a shot, especially across the screen. Like Johnnie To is more wide, so like he uses like these bodies. Like he'll always have in like a different place, but they always feel like perfectly
Yeah, I
framed.
love
You know,
this.
like in action scenes, especially like they're almost like painterly because like they'll almost be still as he cuts from each like.
I mean,
across
the part where I really noticed it, and I was just like, okay, he's been doing this the whole movie, but this is the part that really stuck out to me. Is like the mall.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
kind of scene I had
mall
in
is
my
like
head.
the
Yes,
is the
yes.
coolest like way of stacking your
yes,
characters
yes,
everywhere,
yes.
and it's not confusing. It's like
No,
it's
yeah.
for the audience's
No,
benefit
that-
too.
and that's how we're like he's a great director because it's not confusing. Because
Yes.
especially with that's what I'm saying, like because he has a lot of still characters where they'll just be holding the gun, but
Yes.
they're not moving a lot between cuts, so that's
Yeah.
why like you're kind of having to put in your head almost like the action. At least that's how I watch his movies too, because
Yeah.
he's so like the first. maybe not the first word, but one of the first words I think of is he's like very minimalist, but it's only like minimalist in terms of what you're seeing on screen. Like the way you're feeling is still very like you're very engaged in the movie. You know,
Yeah,
it's not minimalist
100%.
like that. Like I wouldn't call him like a slow director or anything just because he's minimalist. But like a lot of people would think, like a lot of people equate the two. You know, like slow is minimalism, but he's like he still has a very like fast paced movie.
I didn't find
like,
the movie slow at all.
Oh no, he's actually.
I thought it was
this movie's the exact
incredibly
opposite.
fast.
It's like it has so much
fast paced.
But one thing I've noticed, because I've watched a few Johnnie To's this year, even though I haven't seen any of his rom-coms yet, so like I feel like I'm still missing like a big part of his. He made a lot of rom-coms.
Really?
Well, something that we
Yes.
should mention.
That's
Hold on to
interesting.
this point. Something that we should mention is Johnnie To in 1999. This is whenever he really started to like cook. Like he had been working out a lot before this. Like this
Really?
is not. This is like
When did
middle
he
of his
start?
career. He started in like the early or late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Like he made a
90s.
lot of movies up to this point. He probably had like 20 movies.
Well, actually, his
last
first movie is 1980.
Damn, holy
Johnny,
shit!
the enigmatic case.
I mean, that makes sense
but
considering.
he was way more of a studio
Yes.
only like
Okay.
director early on, and then
Like
he started
Workman,
getting control.
Like he was more of like a hired hand.
Yes,
on,
yes.
Yes.
You know,
I think this is
scripts that are
actually
floating around.
his own studio. The
This is
Way-
the Milky Way is his
production.
own studio.
Yeah, they did this movie, so it was one of his first movies that like was his own studio.
Well, it blows my mind. I mean, if this movie can be shot in 12 days, then it makes sense that he is just like, you know,
Yes, he
No,
has that
yeah.
experience
Turning
to
out
be
the
able to do
movies.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like definitely a craftsman in that sense.
Definitely.
Like
No.
I mean, it seems meticulously storyboarded to me, but I wouldn't be sure. He could just show
Apparently, they
up, show up
improvised a lot
set.
on set. Actually,
I was saying it was either or. It's like I don't know if
Yeah.
it's all like
I heard
just
they-
on the fly or if it was all meticulously planned.
It would make sense because I mean you look at the actors in this movie also, and at least 4 of them I know. Like Shin, the younger one, I'm not really like sure about his filmography up to this point,
Yeah.
but the other 4 had been. They were known Hong Kong actors at the time, especially
Okay.
Anthony Wong and like
Francis.
Francis,
Roy,
whoever plays Roy. Hey, Francis.
Yeah.
I used to know how to say that.
He's the guy in
last
Ringo
name,
Lamb's
but-
movies.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and then Roy
it's-
Chung. Roy Chung's the other one.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of Ringo Lamb ones too.
Yes. No, Roy Chung is the Ringo Lamb.
Yeah, Roy Chung's the Ringo
Francis-
Lamb one.
yes,
Francis
yes,
Ing
yes.
or Ing or whatever is however you say that.
No,
is.
Roy Chung. Because that's what's confused me. Because his name in the movie,
Is
Francis.
Roy.
Yes,
Yes.
his name in the movie is Roy, but the actor.
And then yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. But the guy, because usually in Ringo Lamb's movie, he plays like the villain.
Yes,
So seeing him as kind of like the innocent, not innocent, but like he's more of like the
he's the laid back hitman,
the laid back hitman,
or
that's
laid
not the
back
boss.
pimp, I guess, because like we
Yeah.
figure out he was a pimp and not really a bodyguard at first, and that's
Oh.
kind of like why he does it a bit now because he doesn't want to be a pimp. But
Yeah.
No.
But wait, I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I watched this like a few months ago because you guys wouldn't shut up about it, and for good reason.
Yes.
And I really liked it first watch, but like I think it helped rewatching this because like it is so like kind of to the point, and like for some movies for me when they're very to the point, it takes a second watch to kind of understand. Okay, this is where it's going. I can kind of like appreciate the details, which is like most rewatches, but especially with like shorter like very like to the point movies, I feel like it helps, and this helped for this movie. Like this movie's like incredible. Like it reminded me a lot of Howard Hawks, which you guys probably. I mean, I think you guys can see why. I
mean,
I
Rio
fiction.
Bravo, I can see that.
But
It has
it's-
that kind of vibe to it. Like,
The hangout vibes, but also just like the study of like men in their profession, basically, and then like kind of the group dynamics that come out of it. It very much reminds me of Hawks, like. But this movie is incredible. Like the mall shootout scene and also the final dinner scene are like some of the best scenes I've ever seen.
dude,
I'm not
like
gonna
it's
So
this
cool.
this movie has what a lot of Hong Kong movies, especially from these type of directors, have, where it just like keeps building upon itself and gets like better as it goes on. Where like the mall scene, it's the easiest one that sticks out in your head, but then they immediately follow that with like the abandoned building scene, which is even in some ways better than the mall scene.
Yeah.
and then like it just follows with
to
the
me,
bear
the mall
which
scene is
also just insane.
the two peak scenes are the mall scene and when they're kicking around the paper in the
That,
office.
yes.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that might be
that's
my
right.
favorite scene.
The kicking around the ball of the foil ball,
Because it kind
whatever
of just
is
like
amazing.
to me now that I've seen it 3 times, like that scene in a way foreshadows the ending.
Yes.
So I'm like, because like especially there's like that moment where we see like Anthony Wong, who's like the leader of the group, and he's like glaring. You think, oh, he's gonna be the one that stops them.
Yeah.
But then he kicks the ball too.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so
He's
they're all
playing
kind of
them all.
like
They're
part of
all-
the same
they're all
group.
they're all in
Yeah.
on
So
it.
then when he
Yeah.
sees the end, when we get the ending where like Anthony Wong might betray them, he might actually be the
Yeah.
one that kills Shin and kind of like does his job. When he actually doesn't do that, and he actually still is part of the group. Almost like that paper like scene comes to my head again. It's like it's like because he did that, like in a way he wouldn't betray them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, also
it's a very similar act.
I also think that scene also highlights an important thing this movie is about, which is kind of like the study of a gangster, like the gangster's like life, the mundanity of it. Like, cause like you think like a gangster would be like all the time, shit's going on, but like it kind of shows like this is not that. It's a lot of like waiting around, like it's showing studying this differently, like their jobs, what they do, because like I mean this movie is just like basically the whole movie they're just like good as fuck at their jobs. Like there's no like.
It's not that kind of movie.
It's just like a study of it in a way. It's kind of like a...
Well, this is about the life of gangsters protecting a head boss who we see as basically just a businessman. Like
pretty much. Yeah.
Another thing I really like, because you mentioned like it's like a good thing to rewatch this movie, which is true with all great movies.
Yeah.
But one thing was just like it's only 80 minutes, and a lot of times with like a lot of movies, if you have to come to the decision for the audience of should we give them the information or not give them the information because we don't know. Like a lot of modern blockbusters be like, okay, let's give them the information because we don't want the audience to be like left behind or something, you know?
Yeah.
This is the opposite. We're just skipping it, you know? It'll almost skip to such a degree, like, should it have skipped that much, you know? Like, and they're almost like a lot of jagged cuts too, like. He just basically trusts the audience so much to be like, you're going to get it. You know, we're going to keep it going. We're keeping it going.
Well, it's a simple story at the end of the day.
No, it is, yeah.
Movie,
but like the way it goes about it is still pretty complicated in certain ways. Like especially as I was going to mention this earlier. Like one thing I've noticed about a lot of Johnnie To's movies, even though I haven't seen the rom-coms yet, is like he's very good at keeping this like kind of even pace throughout the movie. But then his endings, all of a sudden, were like a traditional ending. You'd be like, oh, it's only an 80-minute movie. We're at the 70-minute mark. Okay, we're going to get like a conclusion where everyone's happy or something. It's like, no, his is the opposite. Like, it almost like the main plot almost happens right there where Shin is like caught cheating. Yeah. It's like, now we're like getting almost a whole other movie, like the final 10 movie. 10 minutes,
the final
you
10
know?
minutes.
But he does that in a lot of his movies where like all of a sudden the last 10, 20 minutes it's like, oh, now we're going. Now it's like the real movie.
No, it's
like,
funny.
You would have gotten a normal movie the first 20 minutes.
Because if you guys read the synopsis on Letterboxd, literally, hold on, let me just read it because it's like so funny. Cause it's like literally just like the entire movie, basically.
Yeah.
But
So,
like
like,
it doesn't even matter because like
that's why like yes, it has hangout elements a lot, but at the same time, it's like there are a lot of like very crime elements at the same. Like,
well, he's been doing this for a while because I think the
yes.
earliest movie from Johnnie To I've watched is 1989, and it's one of those movies, Chow Yun Fat, and that movie is about Chow Yun Fat, who's literally a motorbike racer, but what most people would like make the movie about the motorbike, he makes it about him being just this down like deadbeat dad basically, and then the very last 10 minutes are about him being the motorbike racer.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
He saves those like exciting elements for the very end.
No,
and he keeps it interesting too. Where like you still don't know what's going to happen. You know, like Anthony Wong still could betray him at the very end. We don't know for sure.
Yeah. Literally, the Letterboxd synopsis is Triad boss Lung, who has escaped being killed in an assassination attempt, hires the killers Curtis, James, Mike, Roy, and Shin for his protection. Their growing solidarity is under compulsion when Lung orders Curtis to kill Shin in punishment for his affair with Mrs. Lung.
That's the last 10 minutes.
That is insane.
That's kind of what I'm saying though. Like, he does that a lot. Where like he still finds a way to keep you interested, but then like the whole movie will change at the very end. You're like, damn, like it makes you rethink whatever happened at the beginning. Which is like a lot of good like kind of plot twist movies have. Which I don't think of Johnnie To as a plot twist director necessarily, but
well, it's something that we
like,
talked about within Good Morning too, where we read where like you read the synopsis of Good Morning and the plot of the movie starts at the 10-minute mark, or like at the very last 10 minutes of the movie, basically like the last 10-minute mark. But
another thing is like, because I said his first movie he directed in 1980. But this is like, if you're like a Johnnie To fan, this is kind of known as one of his earlier movies.
Yes.
But he'd already been making movies for 19 years. You know, he's like basically experienced bed at this point. But like, this is when he's really.
It's the same way with John Woo. John Woo was thought of like he started in '86 with Better Tomorrow, but he had been working for literally since like '74.
Is he still making movies?
Johnnie To, yeah.
But not very like
not very often.
He hasn't made a movie since what?
I don't know. I don't know when his last movie is. Like maybe 2018, but like this man was cooking from 1999, like 2008, 2010 or something.
So is his prime like the 2000s? Like
yes.
Okay.
And he made, and I've seen like almost 20 movies from him now. He has literally not made a bad movie.
Oh wow!
Like they all have this amount. Like there's always a quality to Johnnie To, which is insane. Like I don't understand how. All the movies, like even if you're watching, even like you read the synopsis, you're like, "There's no way this is good," and then you watch and you're like, "What the hell?"
Well, he's definitely.
How do you do that?
To me, he's like he's a craftsman director, like where this definitely exists in old Hollywood, where like you would have these studios that like even John Ford was like this, like they could make 2-3 films a year, but like they were so good at knowing exactly what they wanted from the story, like they could film perfectly what they wanted. You know, that's why they can make these low budget or like very fast paced movies. Whereas now, like a lot of directors have to take so much time. You know, so much. Like the studios don't trust the director that much, or then they have to fix everything themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but he's truly like a craftsman director, where like he's able to crank, especially in his prime, you know, early 2000s, he was able to make all these different types of genres.
Like 99 had The Mission. There was one other of my favorite movies that came out this year, and I cannot remember what it is for the life of me right now. For some
Johnnie
reason.
To movie?
Yeah, because Election came out in 2000 or 2000.
So Running Out of Time was 1999.
Running Out of Time, amazing.
Where a Good Man
movie.
Goes, 1999.
I haven't seen that one.
And then also The Mission, 1999.
Yeah, so like where like
he also made a movie in
two amazing
1998 and a movie in 2000.
Yeah, like Jesus
2 movies
Christ.
in 2000.
I'm thinking that maybe him working in that system, you know, in that studio system for so long, made him more economical with his
it does
time.
help. It does help.
And so when he was finally able to do his own thing, he
kind of knows what he wanted.
He knew exactly what he wanted.
And he trusts his, like, he has script writers he would always go back to work with. He has a few. But, you know, he has this kind of system. Like, and that's kind of, in the way, The Mission is also kind of about that. Like, these, like, groups of guys that are, like, close-knit, but, like, they're all good at their jobs, you know? Like, he kind of sees that's the way a film is made in the same way, you know?
That's pretty
Which
cool.
it should be,
Yeah.
ideally, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's just...
No, but yeah, it's like,
It's
honestly,
like-
we'll have to do Johnnie To at some point.
We will have to do Johnnie To at some point. The good thing is
his movies are just so fun to watch, too. That's the thing.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, I'm being serious. Like you'll read like one of the synopses that I read was like for 3. I can't remember what that movie's about now, but it's like 3 people in a hospital. And I was like, there's no way this is going to be good. And then somehow he just made one of the more thrilling movies I had seen from like 2014. I was like, oh god damn,
Wow.
like, what the hell? Like,
That's crazy.
he also has a musical about working in an office.
yes,
Love it.
it's amazing.
Dang, he's all over the place. So he did rom-coms, crime
Crime.
movies. What's like his main genre now?
To me, he's most known for crime.
He's
At least
most known for crime at
for
this
Johnnie
point.
To fans of the West. But
Okay.
His rom-coms, he made a lot of rom-coms though too. A lot of people love his rom-coms also. I don't think I've seen any of them yet either.
no.
Very
That's-
exciting.
That's scary. You knowing a director for one thing, and then apparently have this whole other career. In another
That's why I'm like,
genre.
I'm almost
And
scared to
it's a
watch his
rom-com.
rom-coms. I still haven't watched any of his rom-coms
It's like,
either.
oh god.
It's just so, like, imagine if I was like, yeah, Michael Bay also has like a whole rom-com career that I've never watched before.
That's a good point.
I'd like to see a Michael Bay.
He
rom-com.
does. Bad Boys.
Oh my gosh. That's still his action.
That's rom-com action. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
There are certain directors like this. Like, I mean, George Miller. Like, when you look at George Miller's filmography,
Like
it's just
Happy
like,
Feet, like
you could
all-
split it in
all-
two and you'd be like,
I-
yeah, like,
I've seen
these don't
some.
match at
I've seen
all.
some Bay Pig in the City revisionism.
Wait,
A
is
lot of
it-
people like that.
I
Really
mean,
like
is
that.
it a good movie? I could see it being a good movie.
No, actually, you look kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I remember it as a kid. As a kid, I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Like a little kid, we had it on VHS, and I'm like, I'd watch like the first 5 minutes and be like, I'd turn it off. Like, but I honestly still have no idea what that movie is about after all these years. I have no idea what that movie's about.
I don't know.
It's about a pig.
A
in the
pig in
city.
the city.
Yeah.
I think it says it in the title, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we can go ahead and get into the mission if you guys want.
Yes.
I mean, it starts with just the theme music, which, fuck, dude.
So
Talk about one of the greatest scores of all time. Like,
that's been a constant between these two movies today.
Yes.
Is great scores.
and this one's just like really simple. Is the great thing about it.
He
It's
knows
like, it doesn't
exactly
change
when
at
to
all.
use
Yes.
it too, like to give it this full effect.
Yes, and like the scenes that I use it are just some of the coolest scenes.
It's
of
like
all time. It's
mic
just,
drop
amazing.
basically as music.
Yeah, I mean, like the music. The music opens the movie in this, and it's basically just introducing our our main characters, like via
the
lamb
aftermath.
suits, or like I
Or
call him
wait.
Peanut Man. Like, yeah, that no, not yet.
Oh, is that-
because
okay,
right
sorry.
now we're just like it's basically just introducing us to like Peanut
Okay,
Man
yeah.
as he walks the streets, and then we see I think we see Roy at his bar, so we know that he's like a bar owner or some shit, and then we see Curtis at the hair salon. And then I think we also see like Mike or whatever.
The names are going to be very confusing.
Yeah, the names are going to be very confusing because Mike is Roy in real life. That's his name. But,
Yes.
but no.
Yes.
But then yeah, like the main movie starts whenever we're like intro to like Simon Yam, or no, we're intro to like the aftermath of this
Yes,
like hit
yes,
on a
yes,
mob
yes.
boss. Or
It's
on a
like still
boss.
yeah like
Yeah.
It's in process.
It's like super tense,
It's the ending
like,
of it basically.
we've seen like this
It's
is
amazing.
this is a good low budget technique. Like, don't actually show the main explosions and stuff. Just show right after the aftermath,
Yes.
and then like kind of start another kind of side fight right after the aftermath. But you still feel like you're in the fight at the same time.
You
still
feel like you're in the
main-
thick of it.
Yes,
because-
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. But dude, it has one of my. He does this a couple times, like especially in this movie. But like, the guy will be pointing the gun, just like holding it. And then the camera comes and floats, and then you see the gun kind of enter the screen, like from the left. Like that's how we see the gun enter this time. Like when we're like the camera's
Yeah.
like panning across all the aftermath, and then you see the
Yes.
gun float in like to the left, and we're like, oh shit, we're still in it, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
so cool.
yeah. Like there's one later on at the end, like in the warehouse, where we see like the shadow.
It's the best one.
When the guy's like walking with a gun, and the the shadow
Yeah.
appears,
It's
and then they
maybe
get
my
shot
favorite
from
shot in the
behind.
movie. Yeah.
So cool.
Just like he's so creative with like just simple shots like that.
That's why I said like you can't like the mall scene's fucking amazing, but that like abandoned building scene
No, it's
has
also
something
very good,
that there's
too.
some moments that just also are out there with the mall scene, but
I mean, we got the sniper scene, and we'll get
the
there.
sniper
But
scene's
this-
also
that
but the
is-
guy who
that's
owns
pretty
this restaurant will
wild.
also come back too.
yes, the guy that owns this restaurant will come. Well, because like we figure out later on, obviously this is like a major triad hangout, which
Yes,
is why
yes.
these guys are here. But yeah, we're like there's a hit put out on the main boss that we'll be following, and I just love like the fat guy that hides in the like the bodyguard that like hides in the bathroom because he also comes back later.
Yeah, right after the other guy who like sacrificed himself.
Oh my
for,
God. Oh yeah, but like after this, we see like the boss make a phone call, and we know over the phone that he's talking to Simon Yam after after the movie continues because we're introduced to Frank, which is who Simon Yam plays, and he's basically just like another higher up boss of the triad.
like his,
of
the
this triad.
boss's right hand.
Yeah, basically his right hand man, which, as we'll also find out later, there are questions about how he became the right hand man. But basically, the boss called Frank because he wants to figure out who put the hit out on him and to like basically get him protection. And he tells him to find Curtis specifically for the protection. And so I don't think Frank really likes the idea of going to Curtis because he doesn't really want to go, but he does because the boss told him to. But then he goes to meet Curtis, and it's just at his hair salon. And this is our introduction, our first, mostly I guess second introduction because we were like had a brief glimpse of Anthony Wong at the very beginning of the movie, but this is our real introduction to him as like this man that hit the triad kind of relies on, I guess. We don't really know who he is at this point, and the movie, to his credit, doesn't give us a lot. Which, I mean, they literally don't give us a lot about Anthony Wong.
About any of them, really.
About
his
any of
opening
them.
Stuff, like,
Yeah, like I think we figure out later on that Anthony Wong is nicknamed the Ice.
The Iceman or something.
I think it's just the Ice,
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Because your heart's so cold. Or something.
It's so fucking cool. But like all the character beats are like all these like character moments are revealed in character moments
Yes,
between the
yes,
characters.
yes.
But like it's not like exposition about
Honestly,
like
yeah,
Simon Yam. Like in a lot of other movies, Frank would be like recounting things
Why
like
they-
Anthony Wong had
yes.
done for them, so that to establish his character. But in this one, he's just like, hey, the boss wants you. I'll meet you tomorrow.
Wait, is this when he's
at 3 or
talking about his
some shit.
haircut and stuff?
Yeah, he's talking about his haircut and how it's like
Yeah,
how it's
yeah.
like $100 for like a haircut or
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shit, like just ridiculously expensive. But it's like like that he got like one blonde streak in his hair.
Yeah.
She charged him like $1,000. I don't know. It's just really stupid. But it's literally just a moment of that, and
All
then he
these are
says,
very quick
"I'll meet."
scenes,
Yeah,
too, of like...
because it's just like he says, "I'll meet you tomorrow at 3,"
Yeah.
and then that's our cue till the next day.
This is
and
basically
they're all
the start
walking
of like
in.
why this is called the mission, basically.
Yes.
All these guys walking into the room.
Yeah, because there's no like we don't really know the reason why all these men are here except they were called by
Yeah.
Frank. Like we know that some of them have a history together because it's really funny how they open this with like Shin walking in and we see like I think his name's James, but I always just call him Peanut Man because he's
Yeah.
literally always eating peanuts. It's his character trait. But the Shin like walks in and says hello to him and he's just like looks at him and keeps on eating peanuts. Just like super awkward.
And then immediately after the other guy walks in, he's like immediately standing
Yes.
up and say what's up to him.
Stands up and greets him like he shows him respect. It's hilarious. No, yeah, but the whole gang ends up coming together. So we got Shin, which is the young guy. We got Curtis, Anthony Wong, the
That's
leader.
the leader.
James, which is the guy that eats peanuts all the time. I think he's also like the weapons expert, is what
He's
it
also
seems
the one
like.
that also usually plays like some guy named Fat or like Fatty or Big Man or something like.
He literally always yes.
Like,
this is-
dude, in Drug War
this is,
2012, Johnny To movie,
yes.
he's called Fatso. That's his character's name. In Exiled, he's called Fat. In PT, okay, no, never mind. Yeah, in Election, he's called Big Head.
Yes.
So that's a little better. And
That's a little better.
the god of cookery is called Fat Snow. That's not even a Johnny To movie. Damn.
Johnny To has
he's got
haters,
haters, bro.
And Mad Detective, he's Fatso, Ko's inner personality. So.
Ko's inner personality.
Basically, yeah, this one he's only James, so this is like an outlier. He has like a normal name.
But he's eating all the time.
Yeah,
so.
but he's still eating
true.
peanuts and stuff.
It's also important that like Roy and Shiv are like friends, or they know each
Shiv,
other
yeah.
basically, and then the Anthony Wong and Peanut guy.
Yes, that's
Like,
that'll
no,
become
and they
important
also
later.
It's like
I
this
think,
dynamic.
I think Mike doesn't know either of them.
Yeah,
like, either
Mike's
of the
kind of a
coach,
wild
basically.
card. Although he is the boss knew who he was when
Yeah.
they met him, so he's obviously like respected at least.
No, because there are little hints of like the inner group dynamics group dynamics within the group. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like Shin will become like the lightning rod, you could say at the very end of like what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I
and
think
like
it's
Roy's the
important
one that's
because-
like defending him,
Yes,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Or
And that's,
if
like-
it's even like, are they putting on an act either? Is that the whole
Honestly,
thing?
it's like the whole thing in act.
yeah,
like,
you don't know. Like,
It's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Um,
But yeah, like after we get like this intro to them, we get them walking in, making their agreement essentially with the boss, and then we just kind of get like this montage of like
Yes.
the guns and the music. It's just fucking,
nah.
fucking
Oh, dude,
awesome.
I love the
Sweet.
mic guy when he's like
Yes.
keeps on like doing the recoil. He's like add 4 pounds to the recoil or
Yes.
something like that. Like,
honestly, there's a great shot of like when he's like loading the gun, but it's like 4 screens. It's like a split screen. But
Yes,
it's 4.
yes,
Where,
yeah.
Like damn, directors should do that more. You know, especially for loading guns and stuff.
honestly.
And then they all like reach for the gun too. It's
Yes.
like a classic montage shot.
I mean, it's just a great
Sweet.
montage of them just
Yeah.
setting everything up, like just getting the house prepared. And then after that, like directly after that, we get like this portion of what I like to call the hangout portion of the movie, where it's just like scenes of like just a couple scenes. Like these scenes never last a long time, really, and they're never like followed by even more scenes of like hangout. It's usually followed by like an action scene or something. But these like hangout scenes
Yes,
happen
yes.
like intersperse this movie. But
But
this
some
is
of
the
them are
first
important,
one,
like because
so-
we get like some of the character, like kind of their personalities
Yes.
through some of these little hangout moments.
yeah, because
like,
this first hangout one has Mike revealing
when he
that used to
answers
be
the
a
phone,
pimp. Yeah.
when he answers the phone, he's like, I like right after he says "Mister" on the phone, he
Yes.
goes, "Oh, I hate addressing losers as Mister." Like,
Yes. It's like these.
no, because
losers-
you could tell like you mentioned this earlier, where, like Simon Young does something, but he like doesn't necessarily want to, but he does it because the boss tells him. Like that's in a way that's what a lot of this movie is about. Is like, who is your boss? Like, what are you willing to do for your boss? You know, because like. And Johnny To has this theme through a lot of his movies of like a criminal organization almost asks more like it asks like a more family bond than just like a normal organization, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like a theme in a lot of gangster movies, but like he does it really well. Like he almost like depersonalizes it. So that's why I don't know. This one's like a little more hopeful than some of the other ones. Like because. Yeah, that's what I guess what I would say. Because some of his other movies are more pessimistic about is this kind of belief possible, like all these guys being
Well,
friends and stuff.
a lot of the other ones are like the belief is possible, but it's because the belief is power.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
It's
his
more about the
characters love power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
But
this one's like the characters almost care.
about friendship.
I guess that it makes more sense because they're all like underlings.
Yeah.
You know, they're all none of them have the power really in the first place, which is maybe why they're more willing to defend. Like Curtis is really the only one that we're kind of like up in the air because he is the leader. But,
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, I guess power is a good way to put it. Like, yeah, I guess because even Office is about that in a way. His like
Office
musical
is
about
definitely about that.
about office life, and like
Office
what
is
you're willing to
about
do
that,
about to move up and
yes.
to move up, or because you have to, like,
Yeah.
and what the corporate world offers, like, kind of. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. Like, he's got similar themes throughout all his movies. That's why I gotta watch the rom-coms. I don't know. I can't say.
I'm definitely
We
intrigued.
honestly do.
Because, like, the next scene, the little moment scene we get is, like, when they're kind of just, like, waiting again. And Roy's the one, he's, like, getting pissed. He's like, we're born to see action. We're not born,
Yes,
we're not born to
yes.
stand here all day. And,
Yes,
yeah.
he's like
He's, like, definitely the one at the hot head of the group.
well, he's like, I don't like staying here all day. I'm not a fucking hooker or some
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But like he literally says like we're born to see action. And literally right the next scene is the
yeah,
sniper
all right, fine.
confrontation.
Okay,
So
yeah, it's time.
it's like yes, it's time for some action, and then it's the sniper confrontation, which is
Yes.
like all these action scenes are so minimal, like you said before, but they're all just so fucking tense and tight. Like it's just like
Very well thought out.
Well, that sniper is so far away from them too,
So
and
far-
they just have pistols.
We-
and they're just
yeah,
like,
that's the thing,
they're just aiming up
No,
there.
there's
They
never
don't
any
know where
cut-
he's at.
There's never any
first.
cuts
No.
close up to the other side too.
Yeah,
You know, so like it's all one-sided. Like we're still on their side the whole time, you know.
Until
We're
like
down
the
below.
end when they finally find out where he's at.
Well, I just like
the
the build up to how you even get there because like it shows the characters are like kind of smart and know that they have to do like take risks, especially like and it shows the villains are also kind of smart too because like they don't fall for like the fucking jacket or whatever.
Yeah,
like
that was cool because we've seen stuff like that in movies all the time where they throw up
a clothing item,
or just some decoy to get the villain to show himself so you know where he's at. So it was cool when he didn't do it, and then they're just like, no, he's actually a pretty good sniper. He's not falling for this shit. And I was like, that's pretty cool.
It makes it like a battle between just two extremely competent sides because like these guys are very competent at their jobs and the assassins are also very competent at their jobs, so because both sides that like end up having I don't know if the villains ever like take risks in like air quotes, but the hero like the bodyguards have to take risks to protect the boss like in all these scenes basically like risks that could easily kill them because like Shin has to jump out and then that's how they're finally able to see the guy because like him shooting at him finally gives the other guys enough time to locate where the gun flash is from. And
they kind of take the blame for this. And they also kind of get lucky later on in the mall scene too, when that guy like just takes the janitor who's like a former employee who just takes the bullet for them.
Right after they gave him the money.
Right after
it's like so cool. But, like,
so basically, there's little moments where it's like, yes, they're heroes and stuff, but they kind of get lucky. Like in this scene, they do take the blame for like letting this happen in the first place later on because it's kind of like it's honestly one of my favorite shots where we see it's Mike, right? Roy Chung. What's his name? That's Mike. In the movie.
Yeah. That's
where
Mike.
he's like just staring at the boss, who's like he's basically showing mercy. He's like, it's not. He's like,
it's the morning directly after.
Yeah, the morning
he's
right
offering them
this
coffee, and then their faces just looking
they're
right
like
back
in shock. Yeah, they're like in shock. And he's like not mad.
Like that's almost one of the frames I want you to use for this one. It's
Honestly,
just like
that's a great shot. Yeah.
It's good. It's an amazing shot.
Yeah. Because like they're basically in shock, like the boss is still showing him mercy after like he almost got killed. He's like, yeah, this is just part of the job. I understand that. Like he's like way too understand. You would think he'd be way more pissed, you know?
Yeah.
The head boss would be. Also, like I love his mustache too.
He's got a great face. He's got a great face. Like he definitely looks like a triad boss, but he also looks like a grandpa that you.
He's got kind of that.
So.
Yeah. He's like, except for his wife is cheating on him all the time apparently.
I mean, all trying to definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you did kind of skip over like Roy has like this confrontation with Anthony Wong or with like Curtis for a little bit, which we never really figure out what that's really about.
Well, why? It's because they left him.
Is that why? Okay.
Yeah, because they left it. Like Roy for some, I think
he
Roy's
ran off. He ran off to chase the other guy. The other guy in the alley.
And when he comes back, their car is gone and everything, and that's why he has to take a taxi back to the house. And all he does is right away. Yeah. Taxi back. He just walks to the house, and the way he shows this is so funny too because he walks through the house into the backyard, and then they're.
Stays on the other two.
Yeah, stays on the other two at the table.
The other three. Yeah, because it's Shin, Mike, and James are at the table still.
Yes.
One immediately
Shin goes immediately because he's like Roy's friend.
He knows Roy's like pissed and he's going out there to do something.
And then the middle one goes. And then James goes.
And then Mike is like still eating.
Mike is waiting, and you're like, I don't know if he's actually going to care enough. And he's like, okay, he has to go too.
Yeah, he has to do this.
He would that little gesture there is like so relatable because like Mike is just like sitting there eating, and he's like, do I really want to get up from eating?
Like,
go check this
out. We're like thinking his thoughts. Like, is this going to be worth it to go watch?
Yes, it is.
And he does because like Roy just beats the shit out of Curtis too.
And Curtis lets him. So.
Yeah, he like knows he's wrong too. That's another thing. Like he doesn't fight back. He just like takes the beating.
Well, and then didn't the peanut guy pull a gun on him?
Yeah, everyone starts guns on each other.
Yeah. First of many times. What's guns between friends? You know. Exactly. But yeah, like after that.
That's after that. Where it's like the boss offers them.
But then, like, I guess the main thing that you could say, like that scene's in there, is it makes Curtis realize that he has to do something for Roy in return, and that's what leads to like him murdering Rat for him. Like
honestly, it brings balance in the movie too, because like. We're kind of on his side. Like Curtis did leave him, right? And like he just got the shit beat out of him too. So then like immediately after showing the scene where then Curtis looks like a badass, and like the way he kills him too is just so cool. Like with this like the shaving blade.
It's just like so quick.
Yeah, because like you don't know what's happening at first. He's just like around his neck.
You don't know until you see him sit there.
Yeah. And it's like almost like a silent comedy where like the way he's like choking like on his blood, or he's like stumbling across like. Just great physical comedy too.
Yeah. was cool.
Yeah. No, but then it kind of was like, okay, we're on Curtis's side again. You know, he's not that bad. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Well, you realize that he cares about.
Yeah,
he cares
that's
about
kind of
Lois
what's
a little bit.
like he's not a total villain guy. Like he's got a heart. He's not total ice. He's not total ice.
He's not total ice.
We never hear him called ice or
until
anything,
Roy
until the
calls
end,
him
right?
that.
Yeah. I'm
At
like,
the
damn,
very
I
end.
don't think we ever heard that before.
No. The next major thing that happens is like we have like this seed planted in our head basically that maybe Mrs. Long might be up to some stuff because Roy goes to pick her up and then he comes back to the house and tells Shin, "You're picking Mrs. Long up from now on." Because that's our first major hint that she's basically tried to seduce every person that's driven her home.
True.
Yeah.
And our red flag for maybe where the ending is headed. But that is
okay. The first time you're watching this though, like
You would
Bryan,
never know.
Did you ever notice anything
No.
about that?
No,
You
I
didn't-
didn't.
I
I
didn't
didn't think
either.
anything
It's
about
only
that.
after
But
you know what
Yes.
happens.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, that kind of.
that's
makes
what I was
sense.
saying earlier when we were talking about. I was like, I should have saw it coming because it makes you think back.
Because now, like
to-
a lot of films,
yeah.
like basically most films, if they're showing something, there's some reason for it. You know, so if there's nothing happening in a
Well,
scene,
I
you're
think
like,
it
okay,
may
why is this
be
happening?
like
You know,
it may be like our current day and age brains watching movies that are way too long and so much pointless shit happening all the time that you
Yes.
actually watch a movie made by a filmmaker where everything's done intentionally and everything's there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's refreshing, but it also catches you off guard,
Yes.
even though he tells you exactly what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yes.
You know, and
Honestly,
you just miss
yes,
it.
Yes. Those are some of the best movies. Like some of the best Shyamalan movies, where like after you see the twist, you're like, damn, I should have seen it. But then like
Yeah.
as you're watching it, you're like, it's supposed to feel natural. You know, you're not supposed to see it until
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
actual like reveal comes. You know, and then after the reveal comes, then everything makes sense. But,
Yeah.
yeah. But then you still have to make it enjoyable to watch in the moment too,
Yes.
which he does a good job of like keeping you engaged.
Yeah, because the scene of like Roy, or the scene of Roy telling Shin is just kind of just funny because he's just like, "You're driving her from now on." And he just kind of like walks off, and Shin's just like, "All right," like. I do love the next two scenes in like sequence because they're kind of what I said before, where he gives you a great like character moment with just the boys being boys with the trick cigarettes.
Okay, yeah.
Which hilarious fucking joke. I love this joke the first time. I love it every time I watch it. Where it's just like he's packing the trick cigarette. They all know it's in there. Everyone but Anthony Wong, and then they're all literally just like looking at the cigarette, like waiting for him to like smoke it down to the point. Like especially Mike or Roy Chung. Like he's literally just like leaning over there while he's talking, just like looking at Anthony Wong. It's hilarious.
This is another thing I want to say about the scene because it is a great scene, but like another like maybe just a low budget technique that also works for the film is like a normal scene like this. If you're gonna film it, every person would have to have their close up of like all 5 people, you know, their reaction shots and stuff. So you have to get all this coverage. But no, this is just one shot,
Yes.
one wide shot. You get all 5 in one, and that's
Love
it.
it.
That's why you can film this in 18 days, you know, because it's
Yeah.
not like everyone has to have their own shot, like their
No,
own
yeah.
reaction.
Well, it's also
Setups
like-
take
Yes,
forever.
yes.
Well, it's
Yeah,
also
all
like
the
I
stuff.
feel like the excuse for doing that in movies nowadays is you want to make all the actors feel like they're equal and have equal screen time.
yes.
But then you watch this movie and like you feel all of them equal in that
Yes.
moment. Like they're all the same guy. They're all on the same team. They're all like equal standing. With
No,
each
the
other,
real reason for
basically.
coverage is because people don't trust like the directors or like
Yes.
what's going on.
The
So they
director
want as
doesn't
much-
trust.
yes.
The director
Or
doesn't
he doesn't
trust himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like they
I've
want
seen. I mean,
much stuff
working
to
on
edit as
set.
possible.
That is like my biggest critique of directors all the time. Is just like we need to have this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, and we're going overtime every day, and it's just
Yes,
like, oh my
exactly.
gosh, you don't have anything
They don't,
planned.
they don't have a vision of like what
You
they're
just
doing.
rewrote this scene last night, and you have no idea what you're doing. The DP is just pretty much having to just interpret what you're saying to him, and make it kind of something that you explained.
Yes.
Like
Sounds like
Versus,
Terrence
like-
Malick.
Different. It's a different thing.
Twisted Marriage Therapist, Terrence Malick.
Okay.
I mean,
We're on to something.
But this is more like what I was saying with John Ford, where like he never had control of his editing. So what he would do is basically just film everything
Yeah.
that he wanted exactly. So where they couldn't like edit stuff out,
Yeah.
you know, like which is more craftsman. You know, it's almost like you're like making the film, you're editing the film while you make it in a way, but you have to have
Yeah.
like that vision in your head almost, you know. But like
Yeah.
you're saying, like a lot of directors, a
mean-
lot of times I don't even want to say it's the director's fault. It's like the studio too. They want as much coverage as possible to where they can edit stuff in the.
oh, I know.
They can take
Yeah.
out jokes or add out jokes or whatever. Like we can cut to this reaction if we want versus this one. You know, like they just want as much control.
There's just no
versus-
vision, no
versus
vision at all.
like to go back to the scene. It's just a single shot, and it's just so memorable because of that. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
But like it's also, you know, just from a production point, you can keep it. It's just one
Well,
shot.
it's also-
it's just good blocking.
Yes,
it's just good
also,
blocking
yes.
across
he's
the board.
one of the great
Yeah.
blockers.
Yes, he
honestly,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have that specifically for the next scene, the mall scene, whenever we get to it. But I do love the like that you brought up just the shot, just because it lets your eyes wander. That's one of the things
Yes,
I love about
exactly.
Side too. Is just
Honestly,
like
yeah.
his scenes are long and just lets your eyes wander. This one's different, obviously. It's also a longish scene. It's probably like a minute of unbroken shot, which is
No, but in terms
long,
of like
but
you
it just
mentioned
lets
how
your eyes
you're
wander.
paying attention to Mike
Yes.
this time.
You
You
can
know,
pay
'cause you
attention
know
to
the
any
joke
of
is
them.
coming, so
Yes.
like you can pay attention to each character's reaction in the same shot. You know, as you go back to rewatch it. Versus like
It
a cut to a
adds
close-up
it
reaction
adds
is
to
like
it.
the director telling you, no, this is the reaction I want you to pay
Yes.
attention to. Versus like a wide shot, it's like, okay, you can choose which reaction you want to pay attention to.
Because the more I watch it, the more I honestly don't know if Anthony Wong knew that was a trick cigarette. Because I think he's surprised by it too. Like I don't think he's expecting it, or if he knew about it, he doesn't know where in the cigarette it is. And Simon Yen definitely doesn't know with his trick cigarette later. I don't think, but that one definitely seemed like a joke that Johnnie To just played on him. But yeah, directly after this amazing scene, kind of just the boys bonding again is like.
Yeah.
Maybe the scene in the movie, probably the scene that sticks out in everyone's head. Like the most memorable scene is the mall scene.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Just talk about blocking, like fucking hell.
So much tension too. Oh my god.
And it's just like it's all.
Yeah.
I think I have it. Like it's like everything from like the reflections that you see just everywhere in the shot, matched with the sound design of just like people's footsteps that you hear before the reflections come.
Yep.
Like and they're paying attention to all of this and like the lighting too. Is just
Honestly,
fucking-
though,
like everything.
although my
amazing
favorite part
in this
about
movie.
these shootouts though is the
And the
initial
shootout.
like when they initially see there's a gunman, they're like in trouble. The way they all react, it's like
they all pull their guns out at once.
Yeah, Anthony and everyone pulls a gun. Anthony Wong pulls a gun out, but also covers the
the
boss too. Like it's
Yes.
it's like they all have.
That's what's like we're seeing people good at their job.
Yeah, they're like good
There's
as
no
fuck.
question that they're good at their
Yeah.
job. So it's like, and on the other side too. Like,
Yes.
the way they're using the disguises and stuff.
Well, that's the
crazy.
best part about it. That's kind of what I mentioned before, where it's like the villains, like in the sniper scene, you could tell because these are all the same. Like these villains are the same ones that have been trying to take him out this entire time from the very beginning of the movie. So we know already that they're kind of like competent as well. But then this scene, we see just how competent they are in regards to like the bodyguards as well, to the people that we're following. It's amazing.
Definitely.
Like it's just like it's a game of chess in this
Yes.
movie. It's really fun watching.
In the way like. I think chess is a good way to describe it because like the way his like camera cuts across like the characters, it always feels like they're frozen in a spot. You know, like how pieces are. You know, but like every time he cuts, the pieces are a little bit different, like in a different place.
What's cool? It puts you in their headspace.
Yes.
Like,
there's like a shot where like Mike is just like staring at the escalator,
That
waiting for
was
the guy to
so-
come out.
and
He
then
was
finally
so
comes.
still. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, is this like a thing or did everything freeze? But no, he's just like that
waiting.
locked in.
And then he
So
initially like
cool.
holds on it, but then eventually someone does come across. It's
Yes.
like it was rewarding for
Yes.
that.
And it's rewarding because like you can pay attention to anything you want to, and it's rewarding because like you pay attention to the sound design. It's rewarding because you hear the steps before he actually appears in the reflection. Then you like can just appreciate the fucking reflection shot of Mike looking at the reflection, knowing it's up there that he's coming and running, or like all of them knowing that. And they're just like so good at their job. It's fucking amazing. Like, but yeah, like the scene just continues, and the guy the like janitor coming out with his fucking thing.
Listening to music.
Like you knew something was up because there's no way there's no way music would drown out all the gunshots. But
And they're very suspicious the whole time. You know,
Yes.
like they're not falling for it. Too.
No.
Like, not even one of them.
No, because Anthony Wong, like the first time I was watching this, I was like, this could just be a janitor because he does kind of just look innocent. And then
And
Anthony
like
Wong,
the way he's listening, how loud the music
Yes.
is, you're like, okay, maybe he doesn't hear any of his gunshots.
well, and
but-
then Anthony Wong, and then Anthony Wong just pulls the gun and shoots him
Yes,
first,
yes.
and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, did he just kill a civilian? And then you're like, oh no, yeah, he got behind him. But like the best thing of like why I compared this to chess is because like as they're seeing the like mirror pan across, like the bad guys see it first, like so they see where the good guys are or where our bodyguards are, and so they change their position immediately because they know that he's gonna go across and they'll see where they are basically because they see where they are and then they make their move first. They all step out and they aren't there yet. And then, like, they wait, and then, like, everything basically happens. And they step out from behind something else because they moved at the last second also to, like, hide again. It's fucking just... Literally a game of chess. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Honestly,
So cool.
It's one of the greatest scenes ever, honestly.
And,
It's so
you mentioned
good.
how, like, someone mentioned how tense it feels, and it's a very tense scene. But if you notice the theme that the the variation on like the theme that music we play, it's actually like a little more relaxing. It's like a little less tense.
Actually, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
So it's almost like the inverse of like it's a very tense scene the way with the gunfighting, but like he's almost like he still wants to keep you that balance.
You're in the
a way,
hands
so,
of professionals, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you shouldn't be too worried. Don't be too worried.
Yeah.
No, it's a very fun scene to watch at the end of the day too.
It's a special scene. So.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of his famous scenes.
Yes. And then it just leads to a storm basically is coming, and the storm is sex.
Okay.
And the car whenever it's broken down. I mean, that is the eventual storm that comes into the relationship.
The storm is a woman,
Okay,
here to ruin the game.
Exactly.
Trying to split up the game
Every time.
So they have to kill her.
It is like a quick scene. Also, it is a quick scene because he just like shows the car breaking down, and it's an added element on rewatch because like this is where it happens basically, and then you think back to what happened with Roy getting her into the car before and kind of whenever they were stopped, and then you're like, oh, that's what happened at that point. At that point, it made him send Shin on this from now on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Shin comes back in, and I think Roy's kind of tipped off that something's weird because he notices his shirt is like.
Well, he takes
wet.
off his shirt right away because he's like it was raining outside and stuff. But he looks really sweaty.
Yes,
too. Like
yeah.
he doesn't just look wet; he looks sweaty. So it's like.
Well, I think his shirt was wet, but he wasn't.
Yes,
I think that was the other thing. I don't know. It was something weird. It was something weird.
He's
like
suspicious
that.
either
He's
way,
suspicious
and now we know
either
why
way.
he's suspicious.
Yes.
But now that I'm thinking about it, why didn't Roy tell Shin about this before? Like she just tried to hit me on me. That's why I'm making you this.
I think he's just respecting the boss's wife, and that's probably why.
Yeah.
I think that was the only
Maybe
explanation.
it was like maybe he was trying to take it as a compliment. Maybe it was just me.
Because we figure out like later on, obviously, when like we said before, Roy's confronts Curtis about it, about like why he's after Shin, and that's whenever Curtis tells him like we don't hear any of this. Obviously, like it's a very detached camera where the camera's like really far away, and we're just watching their reactions as they're talking because we already know what they're talking about. We don't need to hear the dialogue again. Yeah. But then we get the reveal that like Roy's like, did she try to seduce you? She did me. And then she's like literally pointing at all of them, and they don't say anything back. So she did the same thing.
Yeah,
to them
basically.
Too. But
that's why they should have warned him before. Like, especially he's the youngest. Like, it's not surprising he's the one that did it. Like,
it's not, and that's why they're all boys at the end of the day.
Yes,
because it's not his fault.
They're like, oh man.
At the end of the day, it was all of their faults.
Yeah, they should have taken some blame for it at least.
But yeah, after this this little sexy storm or whatever, I don't know. It's like we get the foil ball, we get like the little ball scene, just the scene of the movie.
Oh, okay, yes.
With the music playing, just them kicking around the ball together, just some quality bonding time while you're waiting for your boss to get done working.
It kept going too. I was like, I want this to keep going.
Yes,
I'm invested in the game.
The way they like hit it too when people would like walk by.
Yes.
I love because it's framed in such a tight hallway too.
Yeah.
And there's some impressive shots there, dude.
No,
like off the wall, like I think off 2 walls, like
no look.
does.
Like,
yeah. And like the desk is so high, so like she can't see it either. Like the secretary that's like right next to them.
Yeah.
And I do just love the little detail of whenever the boss walks out, Mike like picks it up and just puts it in
they
his
all
pocket.
stop. Like they all just stop.
Like immediately straight back.
Yeah,
to
we've all
action.
been there before. We've all been
Exactly.
there.
We're working.
Boss walks in, everyone just like all of a sudden it's like way too like. If you're a boss, you should notice that. Like everyone just comes tense all of a sudden, like at the exact same time. Or like a teacher, like a teacher should notice the same thing. You know, like when they walk in, like if she's been gone for a while or something. Like,
yeah.
But the foil ball scene, just another example of quality bonding time leading to a
is it
immediate
foil or is it
confrontation.
paper?
Yeah.
It's paper
Yeah.
foil. It's one of the two. Like it could easily be aluminum foil because it looks like that too. But
it's definitely got. It's why Paper Toss was one of the original iPhone games.
Yeah.
People in their office being like, "Oh man, I wish I could do this in real
Nothing
life."
better. Nothing better than passing balls around with people.
Yes, honestly. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Especially when you're not supposed to
You're
be
not
doing
wrong.
it.
Yeah.
especially when you're supposed to be working.
Okay, they're just like waiting. I mean,
They're working.
Do they have to wait for him like that all day?
I think so.
That'd be crazy.
it's kind of implied like that. We only get like
Yeah.
one scene.
Yeah, that's like honestly to say like no shit they would do.
I love how time is not really like emphasized. Like we don't know how long like this movie movie takes place in,
No.
or like
No, the only
I was thinking the
instances of
same
time.
thing.
like it could be a short time. You can say it's a long.
The only
time.
instances of time we know it's not a long time because at the very end, Shin's like, I thought we'd be here for 7 to 8 years, and we're done this amount. We're done like
No,
this
that's
short
true.
amount of time. So we know it's
That's
like a
true.
shortish amount of
Yes,
time. We
yes,
still
that's
know
true.
exactly how long. But
Yeah. No, because during that pool scene, one of them is like, "How long?" Yeah, I think it's Roy or Mike is like, "How long do you think we have at this?"
Yeah.
No, it's Shin and Curtis. Where he's like, "How long do you think we have at this?" And Curtis is like, "Well, you don't like this? You can leave if you want to." And he's like, "No, I like it." He's like, "I could do this for another 8 or 10 years if I want it." And it just makes that pool scene even better, honestly.
It does.
But no, yeah, that's true. So it can't be too long, but probably a couple months.
Months though, probably.
Yeah, a couple months.
But yeah, the foil scene, just quality male bonding him, leading into another basically attempted murder or attempted hit on the boss. And this is where, like you said before, like the fat guy that hit himself in the bathroom. The boss sees him, gives him some money because he kind of feels bad for him. Because I mean, he is working as like a janitor at the mall. Like he's down bad. He's down bad, but he literally risks his life for the boss.
Immediately dies after.
Immediately dies
money,
after getting the money. He might have lived. You never know, but.
Yeah.
They were on this side. They didn't go through the heart. You never know. He could be fine. He's got a lot of money.
And just also, there's a shot that's like also kind of cruel when like they're chasing after him and all three, like the three, you see three of the bodyguards run past, so just run straight past him basically.
Yes.
Like not you like maybe like you think like maybe one of them will be like checking on him, but like no, they don't care at all.
I think that's what the money is there. Honestly, is like they paid him, and so this is kind of like his payment back or something almost like because like it's a grace that the boss gave him that money because he didn't deserve it in the first place. So
it's a weird moment, like why this guy like decides to sacrifice his life.
Yeah.
You know, because it to me, like I think of the scene with the ending where like we find out the betrayer, the guy who's actually trying to kill the main boss, is like he has that little speech where he's like, "I'm tired of like after all these years, I'm tired of working for you." Like something like that, you know, like your family didn't deserve it. Basically, this idea of like he got tired of working for a boss. That's basically his whole point, you know.
Yeah.
Versus this guy, like he's willing to literally die for his boss, you know, just because he got some money. So it's like almost like he's showing like two different sides of that. At least that's how I see it. Because like, yeah, it's like so weird how this guy like literally just sacrifices his life like literally right after he gets some money, like. And that's what saves him too, because like none of the other guys see it. Like none of the five do.
Well, no, they suspect something because of that guy,
the other guy
like
that's coming up to him.
Yeah, but like, yeah, they wouldn't have been able to actually like stop the bullets or anything. So, but yeah, this leads to they follow that car that left to the abandoned building, and this is just another like an epic set piece. Honestly, it's like an epic minimalist set piece, though.
But this is like the classic movie ending.
Yes.
Night warehouse, you know, this is where the last action scene is going to take place, and they're going to find out who's the bad guy, and they do. You know, all of this actually happens, but then it's like there's another movie that takes place like right after.
Like right after it.
But still, this is all 84 minutes, so like, how are you fucking having like another movie that takes place after another movie?
It's crazy.
Because it's like in my notes, this takes place like around the 50-minute mark.
Yeah,
55.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes sense. Hour 20 minutes. The last action scene's taking place at the 55-minute mark, so you know we're coming to an end.
And then
But it's
Hasn't
like
even
we are
started.
still
Hasn't
in
even
a way.
started yet.
Yeah, but it's like basically starting now in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
No, but like we've already mentioned this warehouse fight scene a couple times.
But this has one of my favorite moments that I don't know if many people talk about is when he cuts to the bush and you can't see them, but you can just see bullets coming in and out of it. It's like
we also get a red dot sight shot in this.
Yes.
don't we?
red dot, yeah.
Yes. I
Because
always love that.
because isn't that a reference to the sniper scene in the alley? Because didn't like when Mike was shooting in that scene, like you don't have he has a scope, you don't do anything, but now he has a scope to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but the cut to the bush is like hilarious. Like it's just like this unassuming bush, but there's like bullets coming in and out. It's like from a distance too. It's
well,
like,
the bush shots also used to like show their strategy basically, and that they're also very good at their job, because we see immediately like I didn't even notice this the second time I watched it, I don't think, but we see immediately Curtis and Roy both dip immediately.
Yeah.
They aren't in this firefight at all.
No,
yeah,
And I did not realize that the first
it,
time, or even the second time I watched
You have to
it.
think about that, like, yeah, because you only realize
Well,
that
because
later when
we
they show
see
up.
it.
And
you only realize it later
later
on your
when they
first
show
watch,
up,
whenever you
yeah.
see that. But you should you're given hints anyway, because both Shin and James are carrying two guns, and like the shots to the bushes are so important to me, because it's like he's showing their strategy to show that all 5 of them are in that bush whenever they're not all 5 in that bush because they have 5 guns still.
You're seeing 5 bullets.
You're seeing five little like gunshots.
No, because it's so surprising.
It's
where
so
like
good.
all of a sudden you're
So
seeing
good.
all these bullets fly out. You're like, okay, all of them have to be there.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden he cuts the 2 guys in the warehouse. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How'd they get here?
Yes.
And now it's like that makes
Yeah.
sense.
And that
Because-
was right before like the guy on the boat was coming in, right, to pick him up.
No, that's afterwards.
That's
That's
after
after.
this.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's after they got like laid off. Well, then like after
No, yeah.
after the
that's
the
after
the job is
okay,
done
okay,
and
okay.
like it's revealed.
That's
that
after
they-
the job's done. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
then,
Right.
yeah.
No, yeah, we're talking. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Basically, like they after they're in the warehouse, they basically are gonna win.
Oh, after they're in the warehouse, they clean up fast.
Yeah, they clean
like,
up
oh,
fast,
it's
yeah.
and it's
leaves-
that's
the-
probably
leaves
my
the
actual
one-
favorite shot.
The leaves.
Oh, with
leaves-
the shadow, where I was saying earlier, like you see the gun with him holding the gun through the shadow
So
appear
good.
first, and then the
That's
real
so
gun
cool.
appears through the camera, and then he gets shot.
And
like,
the
from
cool
other
thing
side.
is, like, you don't know if it's like the same guy in the same shadow, or if it's like
Honestly,
maybe
you
the
don't,
other
yes.
shadow of like Roy, maybe because like.
But it
you
doesn't
see
matter to
nothing
this
long on
guy because he's
camera.
like all he
It's so
does is
good.
see the shadow, and then he gets killed from behind.
Yes.
It's like, oh my god, damn.
And then it doesn't matter the only guy that's alive because him and Mike are having their own little competition. I do love that. I love it because there's just like 2 extra marksmen kind of going at each other, and
Yeah.
they both have the same like little scar on their cheek where they hit each other whenever they see each other. I don't know.
Well,
They give each other that like little like
Yeah.
head nod,
Yeah.
like the respects. So funny.
When they have to like wait, they like wait with this guy.
Yes.
To like wait for the call from the boss because
They find out through a business card that
Super Bowl,
yeah,
they're-
the Super Bowl,
the Super Bowl restaurant they're at. Like it's that's who they know.
which is Fat Long. Oh, what's his name? I have it on here.
Boss Lung.
Boss. No, that's the boss.
yeah, it's Fat. Long.
It's Fat Chung.
Oh, Fat
Fat
Chung,
Chung.
yeah, Fat Chung.
Yeah.
So there is a character named Fat in a Johnny To movie. It's just
Oh,
not the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the usual guy. It's usually
This
a different
guy is also named Fat in a lot of Johnny To's movie. I'm pretty sure. He's in a lot of
trade off.
things.
He's typecasting all these guys.
Yeah.
Well, so we figure out that it's never really like we never really know why. Like I guess as you said, your reasoning why is just because he doesn't like his boss, and that is kind of the reason. To me, it's kind of like the Fat Chung or whatever explains his reasoning as me and this guy me and like the boss Long started this business, like this triad together. Why are you the one running it now?
Yes,
To like
yes.
Frank. So to me, it's just like he's basically accusing Frank of stealthily taking over the triad from them two, basically.
okay.
So like I don't know, like he's definitely the bad guy in terms of he's trying to kill Boss Long also, but
Yes.
Frank might actually be the bad guy in the grand scheme of things. If you like watch triad movies a lot, that's kind of like what you
I can
usually
see
see as the younger guy that wants
Yes,
to
yes.
that wants to overtake the guy in
Yes.
power that he's like right under. But
Because there's an earlier scene that we kind of skipped over where this restaurant owner, he basically, it's like kind of embarrassing for him, but he has to borrow money from the boss.
yeah,
From-
20 million.
Yeah, 20 million. Like, but it's kind of, it's almost implied that he's done this before. You know, like he's kind of like the washed up guy, and like you can see why this kind of guy would snap in a way, being like, because in a way, so he should be the most grateful, but he almost feels like he's like worthless, you know, in a way. So he's like, he even says like right before he dies, like I'm old, I'm tired of serving someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the way he goes out too.
yeah. Oh, the
Just
way he goes
eating.
out,
the
he
way
keeps
he lives.
eating after he gets shot, dude.
He
Or
dies
he keeps
the way
chewing
he
after he
lives.
gets shot.
That was
It's like,
wild.
Just like so like peaceful.
It-
like,
you don't even see him fall over. Or
No,
die.
he just
does.
He's just accepting it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. No, he basically accepts it right away. That's just
Yeah.
another thing too. Like it's so undramatic. Like, he
That's
right when he sees Simon Yam, like he basically knows. Like damn, they know. Like,
Oh yeah,
or he probably has already heard about the warehouse fight. If I had to guess too.
I would assume. Yeah,
So, yeah, he basically knows.
he does, and he died doing what he loved. So.
Yeah,
But,
shit.
but yeah, like after that, Curtis gets the call, and they like just basically immediately murders the guy.
It's
Like,
honestly crazy. How
it's
like,
fucking crazy.
you're like
Yeah.
it's almost like to remind you like these aren't good guys.
No,
Like,
yeah.
they're like, yep, we got him.
Well, because you're
bam,
like,
they
well, because
shoot-
you're like, maybe they like kind of like this guy, like this
No,
other
yeah.
side, because Mike and him kind of have a thing going on.
No, that's why it's like so
and then,
sudden.
like, yeah, well, because like Roy's giving me a cigarette, and it's like, oh, okay, so like,
all of a sudden,
and
like,
then all of a
right
sudden
after-
it's bang, like,
Yeah,
it just
let's
kills
get
him.
out of here. Bang,
That's
bang,
the
bang.
job.
Yeah.
That's the job. You know. Like,
Because even Roy and Mike are both like covering their ears. That's how like sudden it was. Like they weren't even expecting it. It's really cool. But then we get like their little like quick farewell party, like 10-second thing, and then just like
yeah,
cheers
we're all
it.
celebrating, yeah.
And then we get like the actual call of like Curtis gets called into the office, gets all the money for them, and then gets called by Frank.
See, this is where
to
the second
back
movie
office,
starts, basically.
Yeah.
Gets called
This
the
whole
back
new
office
movie
by
anyway,
Frank.
so-
Yes.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, he said he's
Yep.
cheating.
Yep. Frank
Or the
calls
wife
him
is-
in.
yeah,
Frank
yeah.
calls him in, tells him to. Doesn't tell him that he has to kill Shin, but he like I think Anthony Wong basically asked like, "What did he do?" And then he said he slept with Mrs. Lung, and he said, "Okay, I'll handle it." And then Frank just says, "That means I won't be hearing from him again." And then Anthony Wong just kind of looks at him and says, "Yeah." Then they walks out.
It's all implied. You know?
Yeah, it's
Like,
all
we get
implied.
what's happening here. That's what I'm saying. This is a crime movie too, and like all these true senses.
And I do think it's
you've seen crime movies before. You know, we get
Yes.
it. Like let's keep.
Well, I
going.
do think it's important
Yeah.
that it's like with Frank too, because he even asks like, why am I not talking to like Boss Long for this instead of like you? Because like, and Frank says Boss Long doesn't know about this. This is literally just between them. So it's like I don't know, like you can't like, yeah, because the hit on his wife, was that Boss Long or was that also just Frank killing his wife? Like,
Damn.
it makes you think about a lot of things. Like as you
Honestly,
continue
yeah.
watching this movie. Because Frank's obviously the one with the real power at the end of the day.
He is like he does seem like the guy with the real power versus like the mustache guy, like the figurehead.
Yeah.
He's like the nicer guy, you know. He's never making the true like killing decisions. Like no, but it's always like all this stuff is very implied. You know,
Yes.
like it's like
All
all
implied.
background stuff. This is not like it's not the main story or anything.
It is. And then we just get like kind of just the ending with the boys because it's just playing on their relationship this entire ending because like first we get like Anthony Wong with James or like
and like
Curtis and
basically like
James.
the how everyone finds out,
Yes.
but it's like no one's really directly told. Either.
No one at all is directly
Yeah,
told.
it's like everyone just kind of like figures it out.
And
Like,
the-
the way he does it, it's so good.
It's like everyone in this movie has been competent this entire time, and it just continues with this ending, which is
Honestly,
nice.
yeah.
Honestly, it's so nice. Where like usually in a movie like this, there's like there might be one good guy that's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, and
you
you'd
know?
assume
he's
it was
he's the
Shin.
foil. Where like Shin is like the most like
Yeah.
that. But still, even though like
He also
even
knows
accepts his
something's
ending.
up. Well, he
yeah.
also knows something's up because whenever I love all just the little things that happen in this, like with just the characters, because like Curtis calls Shin, gives the phone back to James, and then James calls the number that he called because he wants to know who he called, and then Shin answers.
Well, no, before he wants a gun.
Well, yes, he also wants a gun.
so he
yes.
knows like obviously
He
the
knows
Peanuts guy
it's
knows he
for a
wants to kill someone.
It's
yeah.
for a kill or for a hit.
Yeah, for a hit.
And then he calls and he figures out it's Shin, and then he hangs up and he says, "I got the wrong number." And then Shin has this like slight pause after he hangs up, and he doesn't smoke that cigarette he was about to because he gets like really nervous because he knows something's up. Basically, it's just like all these like little things that they do.
Yes.
But then yeah, James immediately calls like after that he calls Mike and Roy because something at the farewell party that they all says like I think Curtis is still going to be working for the Triad. James is still going to be working for the Triad, and then Mike and Roy and Shin are all going to be off doing their own thing, basically with each other.
That's what I'm saying. Like these are kind of the group dynamics with
Yes.
like honestly older, younger too. Like the two younger guys
Yeah.
go with Roy, and like the two older guys are like more Triad.
They are,
Like they're more traditional in a way you could say.
but also not at the very end of the day.
No, not at the very
Yes.
Like he's teasing those. Like
Yeah.
okay, that
Yes.
makes sense. They split up in this way, you know. And
Yes.
that's kind of maybe the battle we're gonna get at the end.
Yeah,
But-
and it's just really fun because like yeah, he gives them the call and then they go and confront Curtis again. This is what we've talked about before, obviously. Like I love how it's just shot with where we don't hear any of the dialogue until like basically the very end of their talk.
Yeah.
With them freaking out at each other, basically saying like if you kill him, I'll kill you. But so like after this, I think what happens next is Curtis and Mike go to get Shin and take him out of the country, take him to Taiwan on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the original plan is to like have everyone meet up at the restaurant where basically Anthony Wong does all of his killing. It's like they're meeting up at that restaurant, and so like that's still the plan for at least Shin, or for at least Mike, Roy, James, and Curtis. They're all still going to be there, but Mike's going to take Shin first to Taiwan or whatever, or to the boat to Taiwan. And then we get like this cool little moment of like Mike has this like little scene of like wanting to kill him because it's like either him or all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
He basically says like, and he's not wrong necessarily.
No.
Like if he just kills Shin right there, it would have been easier on the rest of the group. Versus like keeping Shin alive is like is going to cause like so many more ripples after that. So like he's making a good point. So that's why it's when he's struggling whether or not to kill him just right
Yes.
there. Like you kind of feel a struggle there.
Yeah.
But then when they keep him alive, like the way they kind of go around it is like that's basically what the ending of this movie is. It's like how to
It
get
is.
around that.
It is.
And you never know what Anthony Wong is like
Yes,
his
yes.
intentions are until like the very last moment.
Yes,
Like,
Anthony
one-
Wong is a great character actor, honestly. Or he's just a great actor in general.
But yeah, this whole like Mexican standoff
Oh,
like
it's so
restaurant scene
good.
is like incredible. This is one of my
I
favorites.
love the lead up to it because like they're discussing their plan in the car, and I think like James tells him like, yeah, he's gonna have like this white gun or something. I have. Doesn't he say like he's gonna have like a white gun or like with a white hilt or something like that? Like he says like the color of the gun. That's what makes the reveal later on just so fucking funny, because like they all end up walking in.
I didn't think.
I didn't
I haven't even realized.
You
pick
that.
didn't realize
No,
it?
no.
Damn,
I didn't pick up on
it's
it.
an amazing little joke because it's just like they say that little like the line of like the gun that he gave Curtis, and then whenever they're all like doing their whole like if like they're eating or whatever their last
Yes,
meal, and then
yes.
like they lay their guns on the table. Roy lays his on the table first, and then Curtis lays his on the table. It's a completely different color, and then Mike and James are just like, and then Roy, and then like you get like Roy's face just like looking at kind of just like looking at James all
Not the
funny.
right gun.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Because wait, is it implied that the other gun is being used for Mrs. Shin? Is that
Yeah.
how Peanuts knows?
Well, yeah, because
the guns.
So, yeah,
yeah.
Peanuts is the guns. He's like the one that's.
So yeah, he
doing
knows.
all the
Okay, my
guns.
gun that I gave to him has to be used for someone else, which is
Yeah.
probably Mrs. Shin.
I'm assuming that the gun that he gave him, or like the gun color that they agreed on, is a fake gun essentially that fires blanks, which is what ends up happening anyway.
That's what I got.
Yes,
From
that's what I was
But-
That could've been
Yeah.
it, too. I don't know.
But Anthony Wong just. I think maybe Anthony Wong was like, maybe James just trusts me enough that he's going to give me a real gun, so I'm going to have this fake gun made. Because at the end of the day, like, this is all about the trust of the group and how much they've built this trust up together. Because, like, this entire ending is like, James runs off, like, he asks Anthony Wong to, like, wait till 3. And
But is that
then he
part of
goes
the
ask-
plan though?
No, it's not. I don't think that's part of the
James
plan.
like trying to stall like.
Yeah, this is why I'm like, I think all of this is just like a big trust between all of them. Like they all
Yeah.
have to like just kind of trust each other because James knows something's up. Like I think after he sees Mrs. Lung get murdered, he knows like something's up essentially. Like Curtis isn't the one that's actually gonna do this. I don't know. Like I think something tips him off that like
That's why I'm
this
still
is
honestly
fine.
confused. Like, what
Yeah.
about that event makes him be like, okay, now Shin's not gonna die?
See, I don't know about that.
Where's that
That's-
connection?
I don't know. That's still what I have trouble with because but I think it's just like he trusts Anthony Wong enough that he's not going to actually kill his kid.
Yeah. It's also important to note that there's a guy outside that needs
Yes.
to witness it for like it to be
Yes, the
confirmed.
restaurant owner.
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
also
yeah.
Anthony Wong's like kind of assistant.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
or
yeah.
Well, no,
something.
that's a
Or
different
wait.
guy.
Oh, that's
Oh yeah, that's a different
yeah.
because that guy actually like helps Shiv get out.
he helps Shin get out. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the guy who obviously works for.
Yeah, he works for a triad.
Oh, that guy was
Simon
waiting
Hans.
outside.
Yeah, he's like by the
Oh,
car.
okay,
He's
yes,
like
yes.
like looking at him.
Yes, that's why there has to be some kind of like faking of it.
Yeah,
death.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
And that's why he keeps on just like firing.
Yes,
like,
he fires a lot. No,
fires
and
a
then
lot.
Roy just
Just, like,
fires the
what,
glass.
some, like plates
Yes.
and yeah.
No, it's like just happens all so suddenly too.
And like when I was
Like,
first
that
watching it,
was-
I was like, I saw him shooting. I was like, oh damn, they shot him. But then you see, who's the guy that's shooting the glass?
Roy.
You see Roy shooting at the glass, and you're like, wait, what the fuck is he doing? Like I don't know what he's doing. And then it just like you, and then eventually when it's revealed, you're like, oh shit, okay, that's
Because you could see it being like, okay, like they just killed Shin, and that's what had to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but then like it keeps going. You're like, oh, like
Wait,
that's
some-
why.
someone's
That's
up.
why Roy didn't attack. Because the whole time he's been saying like, if you shoot, I'm gonna shoot back, kind of thing. You
Well,
know?
that's why I thought that was so weird when he was just shooting.
yes.
You know, because I didn't pick up, like, I guess I just missed the blanks thing. I thought he actually died.
No.
So I was sold. I was like, all right, but something's
Like, why is
off
Roy
right
not?
now.
Why is he not more mad? He just shoots
Yes.
the glass
Yeah.
instead of like starting a whole gunfight. You know, so that's what's like. And then the fact that it ends right there. You know, the last shot. Like honestly, some of these last
flips
shots
the
are
bullet
amazing.
to him.
Yeah, flicks. That's how. Flicks
Yeah.
the
The reveal of
bullet to
that
him.
is just like,
Yeah,
oh my
that's
God.
and then Anthony Wong finally smiling. Like I feel like it's the first time we see.
It
him
is the
smile.
first time we
Yeah.
see him. I think he smiles maybe like he cracks like a grin real quick, like earlier
maybe
in the
some
movie
other
with
times.
like whenever they're smoking the trick cigarette, maybe. But
Honestly, Johnnie To has a lot of cigs in his movies too.
And when he plays the theme,
It's amazing.
when he plays the theme rise, he flips him the bullet too, and it's like, oh my God.
That was perfect. Yeah.
And then just like Ashton walking out.
it's just so
Great
good.
last shot.
It is.
Sneaking-
We didn't even talk
sneaking out
about.
the
We didn't
back
even talk
door.
about Lamb like pumping himself up to like talk to Mr. Long.
Oh
That's one of
my
the funniest
God,
parts
yes.
of the film.
Where
Yeah.
he's like trying to come up with a reasonable explanation for the
Yeah.
like to tell the boss, and he can't come up with one.
Just
He's
the
like,
driver sitting there like,
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
He's just, I just love the one
No,
where
but
he
I wrote
starts with
some-
like Mr. Long, your wife, and he just like stops immediately and slaps himself.
No, he's like, Shin didn't mean it. You can't blame it all on Shin. You know, your wife. He's
know,
like,
your
your wife. Oh, no.
Oh.
And then he's like, Shin guarantees he won't do it again. He's just a kid, you know.
Just take his
Yeah.
right hand.
Yeah, just cut off his hand.
You're
Yeah,
a merciful man.
yeah, you're a generous man.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. But I mean, that's the end of the mission though. Whenever he
That's
just flips
the end
that
of
and
the
they all
mission.
drive off to the music, it's so fucking good. Like it's literally one of my favorite movies of all time. It's one
Yes,
I've literally watched it 3 times this year.
Same.
I already want
May.
to watch it again. I'm not gonna lie.
Or it's June.
Like, it's like damn. How do I like not watch this for an extended period of time?
I mean, it's so easy to watch too. That's the
yeah,
thing.
it's like damn.
I'm excited to watch the second time just because I know I'm going to pick up on
Oh, yes.
so much more.
You do pick
Plus,
up on so much more.
yeah.
Election. No, yeah, Election. Exiled.
Which one?
No, Exiled is the one that's like a spiritual sequel. to
Okay,
this.
yes, yeah.
I always get Election and Exile confused because they're both Johnnie To. But Exiled is kind of like a spiritual sequel to this, where it's like gang members you don't know, like they're kind of underlings, but they're having to work against like
Gotcha.
Trader Force kind of. And I think it's like 4 of the same guys.
I think it is. I mean, he has.
It's
yeah,
not all 5 of the same, but
I think it is.
But yeah, I
It's been a
recommend
while
that
since I've
one,
seen
too.
Exile, though.
That one's a good movie too. Yeah, it has 4 of the same guys.
Wow.
Was this your first Johnnie To?
I think so.
I mean, it is a great
Yeah.
introduction to Johnnie To, honestly.
Yes, it is. It is.
Because it's like right at the start of his heyday. So
But like, I think just watch his movies, you can appreciate the filmmaking aspects too. Especially
Yes.
you working on like you were mentioning
100%. Yeah.
earlier. You can see like how efficient he was. At, like, yeah, just like he's still very
So much
He's still
control.
control, but he still like uses stories too very well. You know, like
Yeah.
they don't just feel like bland or kind of just like boring. You know.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like see so many directors come in, you just know they're just like, I don't believe in my own story, and I don't know what I want out of
Or
this.
it's not even their
You're having to
story,
overcompensate
you know, yeah.
with like style when you're not trusting the story. I feel like this is just like a perfect meld.
Yeah,
It's like of understanding and control over your material.
I think it's kind of what you said earlier, Danny. If you can make a minimalist movie, or if you don't have a huge budget, you can do a shit ton with it.
Yeah,
It's just
100%.
don't be lazy, essentially.
Pick
mean,
your
that's true with
location's good too. Like,
I mean, that's
it's
true with
like
both of these
this-
movies we talked about
Exactly.
today.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Hawaii too. Just pick Hawaii.
Yeah.
Because
pick
that movie,
Hawaii.
and that's a good way to get funding. You know, have like a fucking
Yeah.
resort to sponsor your movie. Because
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure it says the
Yeah,
resort
yeah.
for.
Well,
other resorts
they
Yeah.
did like a special thanks at the end of that movie
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
just like thanking like
Thanking-
that like
The airline,
the airlines,
resorts,
like all the
yeah.
airlines, the
Yeah.
helicopter, you know.
I mean, dude, fucking Magic Crystal had that too with like with their airline too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
It's cool.
Get funding anywhere you can. You know.
It's awesome.
But yeah, both great movies.
Both great
in our
movies.
ways.
Yes, they are.
But I guess Luke, you can tell us what we're doing next week. We're starting a new series.
Starting a new series. We're doing Early Godard, which the first 2 movies we'll be doing in the series will be A Woman is a Woman and fuck, I forgot for a second.
Viva
Viva
Sa Vida.
Viva Sa Vida, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, stay tuned.
Until
And yeah, until next time, hope to see you floating through the clouds.